Hey guys, welcome to episode 172 of 4PlayerAnimecast, potentially the last episode of the spring 2021 season. I need to double check to see if the episodes after this podcast will run pretty smoothly because, again, we usually have approximately 5 podcasts and we run a preview
How
show.
many episodes?
So it's a little bit weird right now
I
because
mean,
I
like
think
most of the stuff I watch is on episode 8-ish,
yeah,
9-ish.
so that makes it a little bit iffy because
Do
it's
another
right
one.
on the border of by the time we get to if we have a preview episode into next season, we'll be in this situation where we'll be pretty much right between the last episode of this season and the first episode of the next season. So we could have potentially another extra episode for this if everything goes. I mean, it would probably be better to do an extra episode, but either way, we will let you know ahead of time what we are up to. But yeah, potentially or not potentially, one of the last episodes of the spring 2021 season, and we are all here in the dead heat of summer. I am your host, Spire, doing, well, I guess pretty well, not dying of the heat, trying to run. I'm like running at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning just because I fucking hate running outside when it's super hot and then slowly dying inside and, all that stuff. But other than that, I have been up to nothing really big. Again, trying to balance out my schedule as always. Watching a few more episodes, watching not a few more episodes, watching more anime here and there. Some upon recommendation, quote unquote. Some not so much, but I'll be talking about one of them a little bit later. And here are my other compatriots. I'll go over. They'll go over their 2 weeks, obviously. Toast. Toast
So,
is.
Spire, you like meme review?
No, I do not.
Did you hear that Shion
What?
canceled meme review?
Dude,
She didn't cancel meme review because it was not getting traction. She canceled it because she just ran out of shit to do, right? I'm guessing.
No, she was busy. Uh-oh. So then there was an emergency meeting, and now we had and then what is it? Kanata and Luna. What is no? Well, Kanata and Toa appeared, right? Right? They're like, all right, we'll do double guest. And then 3 hours later, Luna appears. So now all the meme makers are scrambling to redo their memes because now there's 3 guests instead of 2. So
You
it
act
was gonna
like
be
I
fun.
care about any of these meme
Oh no,
creators. I'm
yeah,
sorry, I
that's
really don't.
if you're wondering where Watame is, because this is basically all of fourth gen. She's she's busy preparing for her 3D birthday stream, so that's why she's not on meme review. Yeah,
Okay, so
pretty cool, right?
did you do any anime stuff over the past 2 weeks?
Uh, Near,
huh?
did you roll the NTR gotcha? I didn't.
No, I did not.
Why
What the
not?
fuck
Is it
is
because there's
this?
only 3 characters?
What are you guys talking about?
Don't worry about it.
Toast keeps
Don't worry about
mentioning
it.
this fucking. What the fuck is
I'm
going
There's
gonna
on
only
go
here?
3 characters.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say fucking Taimanin gotcha.
How'd you
Yeah.
know?
Oh man, there's just so many options
okay.
to choose from.
There's a thing going right now in the Time and Gacha game where there's like it's like a special roll where if you roll it, you're guaranteed
Someone
to
else
get,
gets the SSR.
yeah, you're guaranteed to get one of 3 characters, and all of them have because all the characters in the Time and Gacha, like when you level them up, you get H scenes, right? And these 3 characters specifically have like NTR themed scenes. So it's the NTR Gotcha. It's pretty funny, but I'm
Who's
not
your
rolling
favorite
it.
Nier?
Um, out of the 3, probably Tokiko, I guess.
What? You don't like Timon in Crap, what's her name again?
Isn't it
Yuki. You don't like Yukikaze?
Isn't it just Yukikaze? Like 2 Yukikazes and a Tokiko or some shit?
It's Yukikaze. Is it Murakumo? Right? Is it Murakumo?
I don't know.
I haven't watched anything. Taimanin is Sagi Yukikaze in a while. It's the second character in
Oh, Rinko?
Yukikaze. Oh, it's
Yeah,
Rinko then. Yeah,
I don't like Rinko.
it's literally
much.
her.
Yeah.
It's Yukikaze, Rinko, and Tokiko. So you
Yeah.
like Tokiko, huh?
I mean, yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, so other than signing up for the NTR Gacha, oh my god, is the time? Okay, so this is a little bit off topic.
Hey, look, it's Christine.
But this is a little bit off topic. But actually, I don't know why I'm going into it, but I just have to because
NTR comes up and Spire's interest spikes.
Hey, that is not how this conversation is extending. So fuck you. But what are the rates on the gacha?
Really low.
Hey, what?
3?
Hey.
3?
I think
Yeah.
it's like
Is it
3%.
lower than average?
It's like
Oh, it's
3%
3%?
for
Yeah.
you.
3% is standard, right?
And then there's
for you.
there's LR, which is like there's like legendary cards, and there's not very many of them. But I think the LR is like 1%. But yeah, I think
Okay.
3% for like the standard SSR, and then there's like a tier above that. Which
Well,
is
3% is pretty standard. It's 3% is standard. I mean, or 4% sometimes, but
yeah.
3% is pretty standard these days. Okay. I mean, I just it's a gotcha thing. Okay, just say, just putting it out there.
Why are you talking about NTR so much?
Yeah,
Spire?
just gotcha things.
Just putting it out
Anyway.
there. Okay.
What else? I started up Duel Links again because Yusei has a skill called Shooting Star Road, which means he can summon out Shooting Star Dragon in one turn, and I've been OTKing people with that. It's fun because Yusei's probably in the top 3 Yu-Gi-Oh protagonists. Everyone knows. What else? Hololive Alternative released the manga. No more Mizuhiro K because of that stuff, and now it's the Goblin Slayer guy. So he drew.
Really?
Yeah, he's a fan. He's a fan of Hololive and VTubers. He draws Lulu all the time. So yeah, and he drew the Fubuki and Mio versus Ayame fight. It's pretty good. I wonder if this is going to affect his Goblin Slayer work. I hope it doesn't.
Yeah, it's gonna take precedent.
Good.
Okay.
Also, Gundam Seed Eclipse. Eclipse Gundam looks like crap. I hate it. It looks like a weird mishmash between a transformable Zeta line and Z Gundam, whatever you want to call it, Penelope from whatever Zeta Gundam and Hathaway's Flash mishmash. And why? I mean, if this is supposed to be, is this supposed to be
Why
like
is Seed
sequel to
spinoff, man? Like, why Seed?
Seed's really popular still.
Yeah, Seed is very popular.
I mean, Seed has fantastic songs. I mean, I'll give it that. But yeah, Eclipse Gundam looks sucky. I don't like it. And what if it's supposed to be a top of the line, like super secretive prototype mobile suit? Why does it have access to the Striker packs from Strike Gundam, which is ancient tech by now, and also the Wizard packs from what is it, Zaft? And the silhouette packs from Destiny Gundam. So it's like, okay, you got this super cool transformable mobile suit. Let's hinder it by adding these add-ons, which are supposed to make mass production mobile suits specialized. We're just going to hinder it so you probably can't transform with these striker packs on and specialize it. It's like, why? If you're going to do that, you should have done it in the first place. You don't need optional add-ons for a prototype mobile suit. Get over yourself. You're probably just doing that to sell
Probably.
sell more
Excuse,
Gunpla.
sir? Probably.
It's probably for the Gunpla, man. Like,
I mean,
oh,
yeah.
hey, you
I don't think you need to add the probably is what I'm getting at.
you have a Strike Gundam or a Destiny or some freaking Golf Ignited, I guess, or Zaku Warriors. Just throw them on your Eclipse Gundam. It'll make it look cool, except it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Dark, you should throw up a picture of. Nah, never mind. Don't do it.
Yeah.
I don't waste your time. It sucks.
Eclipse Gundam is just the it's like Transformer looking one, right?
Yeah.
The jet. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fucking ugly.
I mean, yeah, it's too blocky. You know what was a cool transformable Gundam that had a streamlined design? Zeta. And you know why it was so good? Because every other transformable mobile suit past that are all derivatives of the Zeta line, and they all look cool. Freaking Rigazi, uh, Zeta Pluses, yeah, they all look cool. Not this one though. Transformables usually suck anyway. What? What else? Oh yeah, Billy Watson doing a charity stream. Good for her.
All
9
right, no
hours.
more. Can we cut down to Apollo Live news? Anything else, Toast?
No, that's about it.
Okay. All right.
This is the most productive I've been about talking about my 2 weeks, and this is how you treat me, Spire.
You literally loop
huh?
back. Okay, I'm sorry.
He's got a
loop back
point.
you loop back into Hololive about 3 times, and I figured I
What
just cut you off there.
what else do you
But
want me to talk about? I talked about the other stuff. I talked about Dual Links and Gundam.
yeah, I didn't interrupt you there, so I take it as my silent token of appreciation. But
Oh
okay.
yeah, the one last, speaking of Gundam,
Yep.
Azuki did a all Gundam Seed Destiny stream because of Gundam Seed Eclipse, and she's very good at that. She's a good singer. You should check it out. That's it.
Okay. Again, thank you, Toast, for your 2 weeks. And Near, what about you? How have your past 2 weeks been?
I have been playing the critically acclaimed MMO Final Fantasy 14. Um,
At least, at least you're not, struggling in the Shadowverse train.
yeah, I mean I've been doing that as well.
How's
Although
the Nier
not as
Automata
much.
collab? Is
Uh,
that still on?
I mean, yeah, it's just it's one of the raids. It's good, but
I heard that if you spoil it, you'll get banned forever. Did you spoil it?
Spoil what?
no.
Banished.
What is there
I don't
even
know how.
fucking
I don't know how you would.
spoil about it?
I don't know how you'd spoil it. Like the story is.
Did you what is it? Data
It's not really
mine, data
there.
leak?
Oh,
Oh yeah, I mean if you data mine, then
then yeah.
it's
But
a bit
A
more
little
than
bit of different
spoiling.
information.
yeah, I've been putting myself through the absolute hell that is grinding out the relic weapons. Not fun. I'll say that much. And I'm doing 3 of them because I hate myself apparently. But other than that, I have been playing Shadowverse still, not quite as much because this mini expansion sucks massive ass. Um, there was a snapshot of one of the tournaments. I forget which one. I think it was JCG. That happened like pretty much immediately after the mini expansion released. Um, and it was something like basically literally every single person that entered used Shadowcraft, and nobody, not a single soul, used Swordcraft.
StarCraft still. It's like it's
There were those, yeah, there were those
when I
faces.
took a hiatus, it was still jank. When I came back, it's still jank.
Yeah, I mean Swordcraft has had
It's always been jank.
I don't know. It seems like they don't really know what to do with Swordcraft because every time Swordcraft is strong, right? Everybody complains. Everybody's like, "Oh my god, this is so strong. It's so bullshit. Um, like it's so overwhelming. Whatever." Because like Swordcraft, whenever they get like a strong card, it's like it's a really fucking good card. And it basically carries the entire class. And then after they print that card, it's like Cygames is like, oh well, you guys have one really strong card. We don't want to print any more. And then they get like 3, 4 expansions of like middling shitty cards. And then when the like really good card rotates out, like they just suck ass.
But Nier, don't you love Swordcraft Turn 8 OTK? I sure do.
I mean,
That's like the only viable one
it's
I
literally
see.
it's literally the only deck that Sword can play right now, and it kind of gets blown up by Wardhaven right now anyway. But
Some
yeah,
like
right now the competitive
the
scene.
usual meta struggles.
I mean, the competitive scene right now it's really bad. Like it's a 2 deck meta.
I mean, the game
Like
has had those sorts of phases, anyways.
I mean,
And
it has, but like they're bad. They're not good.
no, I'm not saying they're good. I'm just
Like,
saying
yeah,
Shadowverse has been over this hill many times.
yeah. But I mean, typically when the game is in a state like this, side games is like, oh, okay, emergency nerfs, whatever, right? Uh, but the problem is because this is a mini expansion, and typically whenever a mini expansion comes out, the game's fucking broken. Side games uses the excuse to be like, oh, well, we don't want to nerf any cards right now because a new expansion is on its way. When a mini expansion comes out, the new expansion is typically only like 3-4 weeks out. Um, so they always use that excuse. So whenever a mini expansion comes out, fucks up the game, which it did. They don't really do anything because they're like, oh well, it'll be all good when the expansion comes out.
Right.
And typically it's not all good when the expansion comes out.
Honestly, making the so essentially you're saying that they've made the release cycle in a very awkward, uncomfortably, or not uncomfortably short, but in a time scale that's in a very awkward place because it's like
I mean,
it's
the
too
way they've
short for them to want to patch stuff, but it's long enough so that it's painful when this shit occurs.
Yeah, so the problem with the mini expansion, besides the fact that the mini expansion is literally just like them withholding cards from the expansion to release later, is the release schedule. So what typically happens is a new expansion will come out and it can potentially completely break or fuck up the meta, right? And the excuse is always, well, you can just wait for the mini expansion and that'll shake the meta up. And then when the mini expansion comes out and it's still fucked up or it gets fucked up even more, um, the the excuse is then, oh well, you can just wait for the new expansion and that'll make it better. It's like this constant cycle of like, well, new cards are coming, so we can't like balance the current card. It's like, no, just balance the game. Like, just fix the game. Like,
I mean, that is sort of. I'm sorry to say that's been side games. How do I say this? Original modus operandi,
yeah,
original
I know,
all along with their power creeps. That's how they sell their power creeps.
yeah,
This-
of
it's like,
course.
dear, I don't know. I'm not saying you're falling into this trap unknowingly, but this is coming.
I
I
mean,
want to
I
say
know. I've
half a
been
decade down the
playing.
road. Yeah,
Yeah, I've been playing Shadowverse for like.
it's not even Shadowverse, right? It's essentially
Yeah,
all of
just
their
like
games. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
pretty
all of
much.
their games.
Like something comes out and it's like, wow, this is fucked up and it breaks the game. It's like, yeah, well, just wait for the next thing. And then that'll maybe fix it. But probably not. It's like, well, okay, okay. Sure. I guess I'll keep playing. But yeah, I mean, Shutter is it's
The
not
usual.
in it's not in a very healthy state right now.
As
Although there are still like fucking lunatics out there that are like, yeah, this is like the healthiest meta in a while. It's like, dude, you're insane. Like
the issue is okay. So this is a little bit of a weird tangent, but honestly, I think half the reason why people are so how do I say this intent on dealing with Shadowverse is that the state of online TCGs right now are just not TCGs. What the fuck am I saying? CCGs, right? Collectible
CCG,
card games.
bro. Gosh,
What's
get
the
it
difference
right.
between a CCG and a TCG, Spire?
Can't trade in CCGs, dude.
yeah, you can't
uh,
trade cards in
So
a
is
digital
Yu-Gi-Oh a
card game.
CCG if it's Duel Links, not a TCG?
It would be I guess it would be a DCG, digital card game. I don't know what the terminology
whatever
is.
the card like online card games, right?
Yeah.
Um, the state of, if you think about it's TCG. Okay. Anyways, the state of online card games right now is in a pretty shitty place. Let's be pretty real here, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
at best, you have to deal with Runeterra and Shadowverse, right? And at worst, that you have to start doing stuff like, either you have to deal with a Yu-Gi-Oh meta, or even if you are
Play
going back
Synchros,
to
Fire.
playing MTG, right? The issue is, you can play on not third party, but you can play on stuff like Cockatrice or Untapped, or what is the X Mage or whatever, stuff like that, which is nice, but sometimes it can be iffy depending on how far you want to take decks or what you want to play. But more than that, the mainline games that should be good, like MTGA, are just even the most diehard fan, I think, admits that it's pretty obnoxious to try to play anywhere near F2P for that game, right? So
I don't know, Spire.
you think it's easier to play
I'm
MT?
playing Shooting Star Dragon. You say deck with, and I only paid 1,000 gems.
No, I'm talking about MTGA. I'm not talking about Yuga. I'm talking about MTGA.
I don't know what MTG is. Magic the Gathering. I don't play that. That's for weirdos.
But I think even the most diehard fans will honestly admit that Magic the Gathering Arena is pretty obnoxious to play any sort of relevant free to play extent. So then they're left to cope with having to play stuff like Runeterra or Shadowverse and stuff like that. And I think honestly, at this point, a lot of people have kind of slowly made the escape towards Runeterra in a sense.
Yeah.
But even that, again, it's just like it's just in a very weird place right now. It's very unfortunate, I think.
Since you play Magic the Gathering, Spire, what's the most expensive deck ever?
I don't. The most expensive deck ever. I wouldn't. I'm not sure if people put it down that way or phrase it that way. But I also don't play the game to any real significant extent.
So you weren't there when what is it in Yu-Gi-Oh when the Teledad deck was like over $3,000. Teledad being a emergency teleport Dark Arm Dragon deck. No.
No, I
Well,
was not.
don't worry, Spire. No, all you have to do is play against a guy who has 3 platinum blue eyes white dragons, each one priced at $1,000 each. So
essentially
that's
the
the
anime in real
real.
life. Yeah,
That's the
essentially
real
the
plug
anime in
right
real
there.
life. Yeah.
Which you can still buy on the Konami website. Real platinum blue eyes white dragons, $1,000 per card.
Oh my god. Anyways, near anything else other than Shadowverse FF14?
Not really. I mean, I've been keeping up with, or trying to keep up with, anime. Bishonen, Tantaidan, still pretty good.
Oops.
Mashiro no Oto, still pretty good. Godzilla, which I will be covering later.
Still a
this
singular
episode.
point. Yes.
Yeah. I have an opinion on the series.
This already you foreshadow the way you foreshadow things makes me very worried inside.
Yeah. But other than that, the usual. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot. And sorry to keep you waiting, Dark. What have you been doing these past 2 weeks?
I also got into FF14 and decided to fucking make a relic too, but I'm taking it a lot slower. I'm at the part where I have to do 36 raids, and I'm like, I don't really want to do that. But I'll get there, I guess. I got 6 months, so.
Oh, this reminds me. Fucking. Speaking of you guys talking about F14, I've partly been I've been having feeds of Korean streamers going back into like Lost Ark recently. the MMO, and the issue is they're all fucking spending like $8,000 per stream to fucking suit up their fucking characters. I'm just like,
Jesus
what
Christ.
the fuck is going on right now? Can you stop? You guys stop rolling the fucking gacha? Like, what's wrong with you people?
They don't have a credit card limit over there.
I think they're just. I think at their point they're just they're doing what they can to avoid it. But yeah. Anyways, keep going. Sorry.
Speaking of Korean Spire, tell us about the BTS meal.
No, that's for later.
Dude,
Dark.
maybe they're spending all that money. Maybe they're spending all this money because they got it from that nugget. They cashed in on their Among Us nuggets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Anyways,
so got into that. Bought a couple of the Kingdom Hearts collections because they were on sale. So it was like more than half off with everything on the Epic Games store. Then proceeded to beat 3 on critical mode, and now I'm on the DLC. And FromSoft Games can like fuck off. Like anyone who thinks fucking Sekiro or like any of the Dark Souls or Bloodborne games is hard, go fucking play Kingdom Hearts 3 on critical mode. Go play that on critical mode and play the fucking DLC on critical mode. It's like I'm level 99 and it's like you still have to do this boss fucking perfectly or you lose.
What is it? Was critical mode better than proud mode or whatever?
Yes, critical mode is the hardest one in the game and is like apparently the only one that's like an actual video
game.
So
just do level 1 critical mode spot Dark.
Whatever sick fuck manages to pull that off, like holy shit.
I've seen videos.
I have to see people like level 1 beating the DLC bosses. Because holy shit, man. I'm 99 and I'm struggling.
Get good.
Yeah, pretty
I've
much.
seen all that shit.
Dark, remember the same generation that likes Kingdom Hearts also likes Naruto and Bleach. So you have to tap into your 2000s otaku energy in there. Tap into since you started anime in 2011. You have to tap into your ancestral. You have to tap into your ancestral techniques.
Anime was only invented in like 2009, so he's not too far off from
No, anime was invented in 1999. Like the early
That's
90s
true.
Spire.
Yeah,
I'm off by 10 years. Anyways, anything else?
No. Kingdom Hearts 3 is pretty good though.
Okay.
I started playing Kingdom Hearts 3 and I was like I got an hour in and all I did was spam like the amusement park stuff, like the amusement park skills, and I'm like, this is boring.
Those get disabled.
Good.
In favor of you getting more form meter.
Oh, that sounds way better.
Yeah, it's a way better game. I literally only got the achievement for using the, not using, but for getting kills with the amusement park ride thing at the very end of the game when they force you to use it one time to kill like a group of enemies.
Don't you have to beat the game to unlock critical mode though?
No.
Oh, thank God. Okay, I might try that.
Beating the game with critical mode gives you Oblivion as well, which is pretty sweet.
Okay, so thank you, Dark, for covering.
You know what? Why is Dark usually an anime? Progresses as time goes on, right? Anime is linear, but Dark is going backwards in his anime.
What are you saying?
What are you?
Like he's reviewing the old anime.
Oh, you mean with like stuff like
old
Osamake from
from last time? Yeah. Kingdom Hearts.
No. He's it's not that he's going back. We're tossing him in the pool. There's a difference, I think. I'm just like, hey, Dark, you should see Shaman King because you literally did not see it. you literally don't know anything about any of the the 2000s anime that literally all the rest of us saw. And he's like, okay, and he goes watches it.
And then
that's pretty much the theme.
Did you also cover The World Ends With You?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
well, he's gonna talk about that in a bit, but
what I mean,
yeah. It's not that old, but yeah, yeah. But anyways, that's for later. And again, thank you, Dark, for telling us about your 2 weeks. And with that, we're just quickly going to move on to our reviews. Again, we're probably going to have another episode after this one covering spring 2021, which is pretty good because, again, this season has been packed with stuff to cover. Whether they've been good series or not, but there's a lot of notable series that we did want to cover, and I'm glad that we do have an extra episode before we get into previews and into the next season. So, anyways, Nier, what do you have for us?
So I watched Godzilla Singular Point.
By the way, this is done by. Sorry for interrupting. I just want to comment. This is done by combination or in cooperation with, co-produced by Bones and Orange, which is a very interesting. But I would say this is definitely a power duo. You would agree, right? In this stage.
Yeah. I mean, these are two studios that have put out some of the best stuff in recent memory. And I mean, it shows in this series. But yeah, so Godzilla Singular Point is an anime series done by Bones and Orange. And if you don't know Godzilla, you've been living under a rock. But the Godzilla series, Godzilla franchise, is perhaps one of the most popular, prolific, and one of the most culturally significant series that have come out of Japan. It's basically it's just I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's essentially the birth of the tokusatsu genre, and yeah, it's pretty important. This series is perhaps one of the most bizarre takes on the franchise I've ever seen. So typically, Godzilla is a giant monster. He's created by the power of the atom bomb. He's super radioactive lizard. He shoots lasers out of his face, and he destroys Japan every couple of years. And sometimes he's a hero to children. Sometimes he's a bad guy. But typically, he's just a big lizard, and he destroys shit. In this series, there is a lot going on. So
when you say a lot going on, you mean outside of Godzilla's viewpoint, or other
yes.
than Godzilla's
So most Godzilla, I believe, Godzilla is very rarely a series that gets put into a multi-episode format. It is traditionally a movie, basically a movie only property. There's many movies across multiple eras of Japan, and the tone of which varies wildly. But Godzilla's never really been a property that's focused on building up throughout a series slowly. It's kind of just
Oh, fuck, Godzilla's coming.
yeah, Godzilla's coming. Sometimes he's good, sometimes he's bad. Sometimes there's other monsters that Godzilla's fighting. Sometimes it's just the military. But typically, the duality is Godzilla versus man. And the themes that present within that sort of context.
Right, and the nuclear strike, and the figurative nuke,
Yeah.
because of course it's going to strike in X hours.
So
Yeah.
where does Godzilla versus King Kong fit into this?
Godzilla versus King Kong fits into needing money. But yeah, so Godzilla's never really been a character focused story. There all obviously have been Godzilla movies that have focused on characters and their struggles. Godzilla is typically a very person like people focused story, because typically making a movie that's only like monsters bashing each other over the head, while entertaining, it's not really good media. It's not really that engaging. You typically need relatable characters that the viewer can grasp onto. So a lot of the runtime in many Godzilla movies is based on the character, but it's never really obviously had the time to be like, yeah, like here's this cast that you can focus on, and they're doing stuff, and yada yada yada. But basically what I'm trying to say is this is a very very big departure from the traditional Godzilla formula, because you have the whole cast. There's a lot of very different stuff going on in regards to the origins of many of the monsters, uh, the way the character stories play out, stuff like that. There's a lot of weird science stuff that they try to throw at you. Um,
What do you mean by that exactly?
so I guess I'll get
Because
into it.
usually, I mean, I guess, are you talking about trying to build the science behind the world and Godzilla? Like, is that sort of what you're calling it?
Well, so Godzilla Singular Point, a lot of the story with one of the protagonists, the female lead, Kamino May, the glasses girl. Basically, pretty much whenever she's on screen, the story is pushing towards this subplot um, where this like team of scientists is essentially trying to uh, figure out and create this new uh, material. And essentially, this new material, this new like particle, whatever, uh, is capable of like existing in multiple dimensions. Um,
That's called
and
singularity.
yeah, and because of that, there's some weird science mumbo jumbo they throw around. A lot of diagrams that don't make sense and probably aren't real. A lot of like
So they're taking a very soft science fiction approach instead of like actually trying to go by steps and explain it in some
yeah.
episodes.
I mean, basically, they're saying in a lot of words and in a lot of time that most of the creatures, if not all of the kaiju in this series, are from another dimension. And
Nice.
somehow, there are like veins, of these like this weird material that is capable of existing in other
The dragon
dimensions.
veins and stuff like that
And
likes
yeah,
to do.
and
Yeah.
because humanity is tampering with it, monsters are popping out, and they're probably going to fuck up the world because humanity is dabbling in stuff that it shouldn't be. Yada yada yada.
I like how fucking Japan in Japanese anime, even when you have all the science fiction blah 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 blah, it always has to come back to fucking messing with the dragon veins. You know what I mean? It always
Yeah.
has to do with messing with earth veins and shit, and you're like, God damn it, guys.
So my main issue with this series is the science stuff. Um, the monster stuff in this series is really good. It's really fucking good. There's a lot of monsters in this series. The first monster that's introduced is Rodan, and is much smaller than he typically is. Traditionally in Godzilla series, he's about the size of like I don't know 4 or 5 cars like strapped together. Um, as opposed to a typical Godzilla creature that's like multiple buildings large. Um, and a lot of the monsters in this series are much smaller than they typically are, which is cool because this series marks the return of a character that has not been seen since the Showa era, which is Jet Jaguar. And he is
Yeah, Jet
the
Jaguar.
yeah, he's the funny, smiling robot that everybody loves. He's a friend to children and humanity. And in this series, he is a mech that the main characters have made. Um,
Oh,
a lot of the main characters are part of this, like, uh, I guess, manufacturing company, programming company. Um, and they're basically like tech whizzes. And they create Jet Jaguar, and his first appearance in this show is very strange. He has very short legs and very long arms. He's kind of moves like an ape. It's really weird. But as the series goes on, he gets a bit different stuff, and then he gets it gets a little more traditional appearance. He gets longer legs. He gets an AI put into him, so he's basically like self. He's like sentient, except he's got a funny like cute mascot voice this time, instead of weird like metal banging sounds. But yeah, a lot of the monster stuff in this series is really good. A lot of fan service stuff. They use classic roars for monsters. Like when Rodan shows up, it uses like the classic roar from like the old movies. When Anguirus shows up, who has a very different design, a really cool design in this. It's got the classic roar. But yeah, a lot of the monsters in this series are much smaller, so that way that this new Jet Jaguar can like deal with them. And a lot of the monster fights are really cool. The CG, obviously
So
done
it
by
also makes it easier to kind of do it episodically, right? Because it's not just like this one thing is
yeah
going to be up, so we need to build up to it for like X
yeah.
episodes.
So the issue right with dealing with like an episodic or not really episodic, but a multi-episode
Smaller, yeah,
series
space, yeah,
is if you have a giant monster that shows up in episode 1, um, you pretty much immediately take the situation out of like human characters' hands,
yeah.
and immediately you really only can rely on the military, right? Which is something that Godzilla is. Typically it's the military versus Godzilla, and then there's like some other side characters that yeah, they have their own story arcs or whatever. Sometimes they're in the military, sometimes they're not. Yada yada yada. But with much smaller monsters, you have this story that can be told with characters that are literally just. It's literally just like people in this, like working in this engineering company that are building a fucking robot out of their garage, right? And like it's capable of fighting these monsters because they're much smaller. They're obviously still a threat, um, because a lot of them have new abilities that have not been seen in the series history, which is cool and a treat. But it is a much more uh, tackleable threat than like like city destroying monsters, which I think is
Right,
very
right, right.
cool, a very smart decision. Um, but obviously, being a Godzilla series, Godzilla has to show up eventually. Um, which he does. He's got a very strange appearance when he first shows up. He's more of like like I don't know, like one of those like those like swimming dinosaurs with like the fin arms. Um, and then he lands. And then he does a version of like his atomic breath, but it makes him like explode and sort of like almost like cauterize all of his skin, so he creates like a pupa around himself, and then he like evolves within that into a more uh, traditional appearance of Godzilla, which I think is a very cool way of taking what Shin Godzilla did, where Shin Godzilla, which is one of the newest iterations of Godzilla, and typically viewed by most fans as probably like the best Godzilla movie uh, made, where like we actually see him like evolve. He changes throughout the movie, which is very cool. Um, but yeah, uh, the monster stuff in this series is all very good. The CG is very good, obviously done by Studio Orange. I think a lot of the magic um, of the CG in this is like the textures on the monster. They're almost like a painted texture. It's very cool. But yeah, it's very smooth. It looks quite good. Um, the the 2D stuff is fairly standard. They're not really doing like a lot of the action with 2D because like mostly just the human characters are 2D, and a lot of that's just talking about science and shit or like running away from a monster. Um, but yeah, my main gripe with this series is the science stuff. Because like there's a lot of it, and pretty much all of it is like completely made up. We're talking about like,
How relevant is it to the ongoing story?
I mean,
It's
it
pretty.
seems it's pretty relevant. So a lot of the science stuff has to do with um like so the monsters in this series are they live in and are covered in this red dust uh that is essentially um it's like sand almost, but it's like some weird super particle or something. I don't really
Yeah,
know. They don't
archetype,
explain it
dude.
very well. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, like the red sand is, I guess, essentially like where monsters come from. It's where they live. It's apparently like, I don't know, a source of power for them because when they're in the red like mist, they're apparently stronger. They're more durable. Um, Godzilla himself like emits red sand when he comes ashore. Um, they haven't really explained like what it is, even though they spend a lot of fucking time trying to explain it. But essentially, it's like other dimensional space shit, right? And humanity is using this red sand to create this weird, um, like see-through super material that's like super strong, and if it can like uh bend light and space and time, and when light travels through it, it's like brighter um than it normally is, which obviously
Okay.
like
Oh,
breaks
it's
the
not
laws
just
of
brighter.
physics. Yeah, it
What
like it's
happens
like
is it emits all the light that it's
yeah
going
so
to ever emit at once.
yeah so it essentially it's
Floats in
it's
light.
it's a time rock, right? So when light comes into it, it traps all of that light throughout like time, and then it shoots it out. So that way, all of that light, like through time, is shooting out of it. So that way, it's obviously more light. It's stronger light. Um, and I guess they like demonstrate this by setting up like four things, so that way they reflect in like a square, and then eventually, the light travels so much that it like explodes, because there's just so much energy that's traveling through it. Um, but yeah, like a lot of this series is trying to explain this weird, like, fucking space rock shit and what it means for like the weird singular point, and you know the calamity that's coming up in the universe, and yada yada yada. And there's like weird like corporate espionage shit going on with like this weird secret tech company. And it's like, man, like, if you're gonna do other dimensional monsters, just have it be like, I don't know, some Evangelion shit where it's like biblical or something. Like, you can try to like have a science backdrop to it, but like, you know, just make it fucking crazy. You know, um, I don't know. They're spending a lot of time trying to be like, yeah, there's like this supercomputer, and it's predicting the end of the world. And if you go back, 80 years, there was this scientist, and he first discovered the red sand, and his research is like, I'm the only one that can decipher his research. And it's like, oh my god, dude, like, it's not great.
So what you're telling me is that, I mean, there's a similar thing in, well, this isn't really an anime reference, but it's like, um do you know, like, how Les Mis, right? Les Miserables, has, like, the actual book, right, is not really the story so much as there's like a huge. I mean, it's like also like the same with Moby Dick, right? Where it's like instead of having the story, they have like a huge chapter in the front, almost as a prologue slash preface, where all they're doing is really just talking about the like in Les Miserables case, it would be talking about the French economy or whatever. Or and then in Moby Dick's case, it's just talking about random stuff, right? It's like, is it kind of like that? Is that how you're sort of feeling right now? Like you just like they're just getting fed all this information that's sort of relevant to this. I mean, it's relevant to the story, but you're just like, I'm at this point. I'm just reading a textbook. Is that why you're not liking it, or
I mean, it kind of feels like it, right? Because a lot of it, we're 10 episodes in, right? And I think Godzilla only really shows up and like does anything like episode 7. Um and a lot of it is like there's like this other monster that they've been showing that's trapped in like this research facility, and he can like control the red sand, and like there's so much stuff that they're alluding to, and like there's all this stuff, and it's like you're alluding to so much that like eventually these human characters, like the characters that are working on Jet Jaguar, like the threat that you guys are like building up to is going to be like just irrelevant. Like these other characters that are like actually, I like seeing them on screen. They're not even gonna be able to do anything, because it's like yeah, Jet Jaguar has a spear that can like cut through kaiju's, but like what the fuck is he gonna do against fucking Godzilla? Like he's fucking huge,
Oh
and
yeah.
and
Also,
Jet
you left out
Jaguar
the
is like
part where they
fucking
can see through
20 feet
time
tall.
by like a second too.
Yeah, the
Uh,
kaiju's in the series can fucking see through time. They can see the future. So I don't know how the hell like
To be
there's
fair, the gimmick was pretty cool where it could deflect bullets,
yeah, the gimmick where they
but if
initially
you're just
introduced it
close enough,
with
then
Anguirus was like, so the gimmick was Anguirus can like essentially see through time. He can see the future. We don't really know how far into the future he could see, but like he was able to essentially predict the trajectory of bullets, and he can like vibrate the spines on his back in such a way that it reflects the bullets back at the people like shooting at him, which is really fucking cool. And it's a really cool effect. Like when he starts vibrating his spines, he gets like all rainbowy. It's really cool. Um,
But then they also start trying to explain it,
Yeah,
like
but then
for
they
two
start, but
chapters
then they're start
or
like
three
going
episodes.
like, oh well, because of like this weird particle, like maybe like the supercomputer that like uses this material to like materialize this thing. Maybe like we can see through time, and the supercomputer can predict the calamity, and it's like, oh my god, just show me the monsters. I don't care. Like
The thing is, I'm kind of curious. Do you think the series was made to made for that, or do you think the series started out having this sort of explanation as a side component, but the writers went to ham? You know what the difference is, right? Where it's like
yeah, I mean,
one is this is they're doing this stupid shit, nerd shit on purpose, and the other one is they add this nerd shit, but then somebody on the fucking script writer slash series composition team went a little bit too ham, right? Which one is it? Do you think?
I mean, I feel like it's them going too ham, because the monster stuff it's so good, right? Like you can tell that the people behind, the monster designs, like the like making up all these like new abilities that we haven't seen in monsters, like a lot of that stuff is super good. Like it's really good fan service. Um, but then like when the script kicks in, and it's like, well, I've got to explain where these monsters are coming from, and there's this like secret tech company that like has weird allusions to Indian mythology, and we're gonna randomly drop like Indian myth references here.
Oh, so
And
who's
it's
the
like,
Indian kaiju? Has they appeared yet?
I think there's the new original kaiju that can like
Nice.
control the red mist. Like I think he has an Indian name. I forget what it is. Starts with an S. But yeah, there's constant references to like Indian mythology. Uh, like the secret company, this tech company is like it's called Shiva. Like uh, there's a lot of references to mythology, which I think they could have leaned into, and it could have been really good. Um, like no,
Do you think
the
another
monster's name
fault of
isn't Shiva,
this? Do
but
you
like
think another fault of this is that they're trying way too hard to close the holes in terms of explaining it
I think
in
so.
a
Yeah,
in a series where obviously
you
this
don't need
shit is.
to like.
Or yeah, first you don't need to, and two, it's pretty much near impossible, right? When fucking
Yeah,
Godzilla appears and he has red sand all around him, and he's traveling through space time and looking into the future, it's a little bit harder to explain, right?
yeah, like just look at. I mean, I really don't want to compare this series to it, but like just look at Evangelion, right? Like when you have a series with giant fucking robots, um, and like in reality, like these giant robots are fighting these fucking monsters, and they call them angels. And when you kill the angels, like they explode into fucking flaming crosses, right? And this series has like Evangelion has a science fiction backdrop, right? There's science in the series, and it
Right.
uses science to sort of rationalize what's going on. But at the end of the day, it is a supernatural series. There's supernatural phenomenon going on, and a lot of it you cannot explain. And I feel like this series should do that, right? Like if it like you can't really have um you can't really hit me with like, yeah, Godzilla in this series is a other dimensional being that came in through this red mist and and then you're trying to fucking have like science diagrams and this fucking super AI doing like math calculations, and it's like, dude,
A super
he's
AI that can run
Godzilla.
on fucking
Me-
anything, by the way.
let me run up these nerd calculations of how Godzilla is, a light speed, red sand emitting, is hyperspace traveling beast of
Yeah,
doom.
like you don't need to explain the math to me behind what Godzilla's doing. Like he's fucking Godzilla, right? Like in Shin Godzilla, there was a sort of reverence to Godzilla, right? Like they explained that he's a fucking ball of radiation,
Well, at the end of
and
the day,
that's it,
Godzilla
right?
is a socio. It's a historical slash social cultural. It's an allegory, right?
Yeah,
And it's
he
not.
is a
Yeah,
manifestation of the
yeah,
fears
yeah.
of nuclear power. And
Exactly.
in modern times, he has been adapted to, in Shin Godzilla, he's a representation of the trauma and the experiences of
Right.
the Fukushima stuff, right?
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
the
Do you think this is
tsunami, the nuclear breakdown, stuff like that.
Is that why
do you think
Shin
this is a
Godzilla
way?
had all those forms?
Do
All like I like what is it? Man, I like the Manzilla form. That one's cool.
Yeah.
do you think this is a way? This is sort of the equivalent of um, superhero movies these or Western superhero movies these days, trying to make all of the superheroes always all dark and gritty and realistic in a sense, but then not all necessarily always succeeding. Is this sort of the equivalent of it? You think? Where they're trying to not humanize Godzilla in here, but they're trying to get the scope of quote unquote get the scope of Godzilla in a way that again doesn't need to be done. Just like how Superman, yes, he's a human, he's a superhero in human form, but he doesn't really,
Is
he's
Superman even relevant anymore? It's all about Omni-Man, Spire.
It's true.
but yeah, that's true. But yeah, it's Superman goes around, frost breath, laser eyes, heat vision, whatever. super strength, super speed. He doesn't really need to be explained, or not, at least or rather in Superman / the movie's case. He doesn't really need to be. We don't need to do a huge psychoanalysis of him, right? And this is sort of the same, where we don't really need to do a huge scientific analysis.
You don't really need to break down, like, I don't need the physics breakdown of how Superman flies, right? I just need to know that Superman flies because he's Superman. He's an alien, and he gets power from the sun, and because of that, he can fly, and he's Superman, right?
Hey,
Like,
Near.
Godzilla is a lizard that got nuked, and now he shoots fire out of his mouth, right? Any cool powers that you give him, they don't really need to be explained with like mathematical diagrams and charts and space time rocks that humanity is trying to like replicate. Like, he's Godzilla. Regardless of what form you give him, regardless of what origin you give him, whether he's from space, which has been done, whether he's the angry, forgotten souls of soldiers of World War II, which has been done before, by the way, successfully. It's one of the better movies, in my opinion. It doesn't really need that much like explanation. Like, you just need to present it to the viewer in a way that they're like, okay, yeah, that's Godzilla, right? I don't need this entire character that is devolving into like this weird, um, you know, uh, like delving into these scientific notes from 80 years ago, like to figure out, what exactly the origin of Godzilla is, right? Like,
Those like dinosaur books that are made for children, but they still have all those scientific facts and stuff like that in them. It's like the dinosaur was this big and it was this genus, even though it's like still for children and has pictures all over the place and stuff like that.
yeah,
It's kind of like that in a sense, right? Where it's like Godzilla is like this, and you're like, oh, this is nice, this is cool, and then it starts explaining like it has all these couches beneath it, like
yeah. I also haven't mentioned one of the bigger plot points in the series that really hasn't been expanded upon is that in the very beginning of the series, uh, like when Radian first shows up, they figure out that it's attracted to radio signals, and the reason they figure this out is because uh, at the very beginning of the series, our main characters are like tracking this weird radio signal from this mansion, um, and it's this weird. They find it. It's this weird like Indian folk song, right? There's a lot of Indian like mythology references in it, but they haven't really used them for anything. Uh, but yeah, it's this weird Indian folk song, and they figure out like there's this weird uh, encrypted message in it, um, and it's really as far as that plot point is gone. But like in their search for like the source of this signal, it is revealed that underneath this like radio, like I don't even know what to call it. Like it's like a weird science station that like looks for radio waves from space or something, right? But underneath it is a fucking skeleton of Godzilla, right? Like a skeleton of Godzilla, and
okay.
See, this is what I've
it's
always
got
wondered. If
it's got
there's
fucking wires in the back of its skull, right? And apparently the skeleton is transmitting that song into the radio waves. And like we don't know why it's just doing that. So apparently, Godzilla has existed in this universe before, and I guess died or something, and it just like it never appeared to humanity or something. But like, there's so much going on here, and
We're
like,
talking about like intersecting timelines, like it's doing time travel and it's ending up, in the past, and it's
I
doing.
mean, it might be time travel shit. I don't know. Like, there's so much like weird interdimensional shit going on here. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's necessary. Like, you can have this cool series with like just fucking Jet Jaguar fighting monsters, right? And then Godzilla shows up. He's big bad. They've got to find some fucking super weapon to destroy him, whatever, right? Like, you don't need all this shit. I don't know. It's
So let me ask you this, Near. If they've always talked about the original Godzilla's remains, then who's the current Godzilla? Is it Godzilla's son or Godzuki or what do we call him? Just Godzilla?
I mean, he's Godzilla. Like, the thing is, this series is acting like these are the first like monsters that humanity has ever seen, right? So this is not tied to the original Godzilla, which many Godzilla properties, like, they typically either directly call back to the original 60s Godzilla, or they have some illusions that Godzilla has been a presence in Japan's history before. Um, but like, this series, which is set, I think, in like 2030, if for all intents and purposes, like, these are the first kaiju to ever appear in the world, and they are a world threat. Like, the monsters are showing up in America and stuff too. Um, so I don't really know what's going on with the Godzilla skeleton. Um, like, it's really bizarre. Um,
So then who's a space Godzilla?
uh, I mean, Space Godzilla was, if I remember correctly, Space Godzilla was a piece of Godzilla that was like stuck on Mothra in one of the movies before. Mothra flew into space, uh, and like one of Godzilla's like a piece of Godzilla's DNA got stuck in like a black hole or something, and it like mutated the black hole and created Space Godzilla. I don't know. My memory
You got the
on
graphs
Space
on
Godzilla
that or what?
a little, yeah. Like, you don't need you don't need multiple episodes to explain like the origins of something like that. Like Space Godzilla, as divisive of a movie as it is, like, it sort of just says, like, yeah, he's Godzilla from space. Like,
Nice.
get used to it, right? Um, this series, it does not need to spend so much time explaining this like red sand. Like, I'm fine with having
What
this character like go through, like, the origins of where these monsters are coming from. But unfortunately, they haven't really been doing that. They keep going on about this weird material, and like, you know, I just don't care. Like, it's pretty obvious the material is probably going to be the solution to like killing Godzilla or something. But like,
what
you really only need to do that in like 2 episodes. You don't
what
need 10 episodes to build this shit up.
Near what if the red sand is all mini Godzillas? Because you're saying that Godzilla is more of this primal force, right? So each tiny grain of red sand is one small Godzilla or one small Godzilla cell. So so the civilization is powering itself literally from Godzilla. So the
Well,
only way to fight Godzilla
the
is with
problem
Godzilla.
is the problem is apparently there are like multiple like veins of this red sand across the entire world. So that doesn't.
Godzilla. So Godzilla is the whole Earth. Got it.
Yeah.
Has someone eaten the red sand yet to gain power?
No, everybody wears masks. Because uh, I would assume it probably kills you if you breathe it in. Um,
Did
but
they ever explain why that one old lady has like complete black eyes?
no.
Cool.
What if you eat the red sand? You become Godzilla.
Um, Probably not. I mean, one guy squishes one in his between his fingers, and it kind of just dissipates. So I don't really know what it does to people. They haven't really like, I don't know. They haven't really gone into the red sand itself, other than like Godzilla shits it out constantly. Um, and that's about it. It makes monsters stronger, and Godzilla like constantly emits it, and there's another new monster that can like control it. Uh, I don't really know what's going on, but yeah, this is a really weird series. Um, it's definitely, I'd say, the biggest departure from Godzilla, like as a series. Obviously, the American Godzillas notwithstanding, although the newer American Godzillas have been at least relatively like I guess sort of faithful. We don't really talk about what was it, 1998, but
Is that the one with is
that's
that
the
the
one
one
with
that
a
got
lot of
beat up in
fish.
the is that the one that got beat up in a later Japanese
Yeah, in
movie?
Final Wars, yeah, he gets
Nice.
he gets dunked into a fucking building, as I think Linkin Park plays. But
Sick.
so in conclusion, which series is Godzilla better, Godzilla Singular Point or Shinkalian? Is Shinkalian is that the movie trilogy? Or no, this is the weird fucking, yeah. I'd say, I mean, Shinkalian was that weird mecha series, right? Yeah. I mean, when Godzilla showed up in Shinkalian, it was really fucking cool. If bizarre as fuck. But yeah, I don't know. I think Godzilla in this series is cool. Like he's got cool abilities. He's metamorphosing like he did in Shin Godzilla, which I think is a cool like point of inspiration. Um, his design that we've seen is very cool. Although his like midway point is a little goofy. Um, I don't know. I think like again, the monster stuff in this series is really fucking good. I think the people behind uh, a lot of the audio stuff, a lot of the monster designs, and a lot of the fights and stuff. Um, they're obviously fans of Godzilla. I just think whoever's doing the script for this dumb fucking multi-dimensional particle uh is dumb. I don't know. It's not great, and it kind of just dilutes what is good about this series.
Yeah. That's a little bit again that I could kind of feel your not like complete disappointment, but it is unfortunate that you had to give it a mixed review in that sense because there were
Yeah, I mean,
clearly
I
things
do
about it.
I do enjoy watching this series. I don't want to rag on it too much, right? Because there's really good stuff in this series, right? Like like I said, the fan service in this is fucking it's top notch, right? Like the return of Jet Jaguar is fucking awesome, and he's really cool in this, right? Even if he's got a funny, goofy voice. The fact that they gave him a fucking spear and made him do fucking samurai poses as a joke is it's fucking awesome, right? Um,
Is Jet Jaguar a friend to Godzilla in this one? Isn't he usually his friend?
no,
And I know they shared a high five that one time.
yeah, I mean
Or,
the one movie that Jet Jaguar is in was in the Showa era, near the end of the Showa era, I believe, where Godzilla was uh he was essentially financially unviable. And the era where Jet Jaguar's movie came out, which I think was Godzilla versus Megalon, um, Ultraman was really fucking popular. Like Ultraman was like the hot shit. Uh, and so Toho was like, well, we need to appeal to children, so we'll make our own Ultraman. And so they made Jet Jaguar. And in that movie, like one of the main protagonists is a child, and unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that movie bombed. Um, and it marked pretty much the end of Godzilla for that era. Um, but people like Jet Jaguar, right? Because he's fucking goofy. He's got a fun design. Um, but yeah, it's cool to see him back. And it's cool to see a lot of the monsters in here back, right? Like Anguirus's redesign is fucking awesome. Um, the Manda stuff is pretty interesting. The hordes of Rodan is a very interesting take on that monster. Um, there are really good parts of the series, and I think the characters around the characters that are creating Jet Jaguar and stuff, they're really fun, right? Like there's this wacky old man. There's the white haired dude, which is the programming whiz. There's this other guy which is like a big muscle head dude, but like he also still knows science shit. And then there's like this goth chick that hasn't really had very much screen time. But like they're fun characters. And but like the other half, which is the storyline that's following the glasses girl, the scientist girl, is just like it's way less interesting, right? Like I'm still I'm kind of invested in the multidimensional stuff because it's like it's on screen, right? Um like and there's a lot of information that's flying at you, so you kind of have to pay attention. Um but like I don't think it's not really good. And I think it's sort of antithetical to what Godzilla has been in the past, where it's like Godzilla is sort of just he's like a force of nature, right? And sometimes you kind of just can't explain it. So you don't really need to spend,
Well,
eight, 9 episodes
I think the
explaining the
point.
mathematics behind it. You know what I mean?
I think the point is that Godzilla as a general series has been more about the spectacle. I mean, the themes aside, but the immediate idea of Godzilla is much more about the spectacle than it is about the behind the scenes science and all of that. So,
Yeah. I mean, largely the appeal of Godzilla is watching Godzilla, blow shit up, right?
Great big
Um,
Godzilla.
and you know, uh, the good Godzilla movies do that and also present themes alongside it. Sometimes they're very powerful themes, sometimes they're fairly simple themes, but the good ones are ones that balance like good kaiju action with solid uh, character storytelling, themes, and like it's a balanced product. With this one, it feels like um, I mean, it kind of feels like, in a way, it sort of feels like the recent American ones, where it's like the kaiju stuff is good, and in this case, it's really good. Um, but then the human stuff, you're kind of just like, yeah, okay, whatever, right? It's a little bit less severe than the American movies, in my opinion, because like again, the characters around Jet Jaguar are very good, um, but there is still a hint of that there. Um, but I do like this series as much as I've ragged on it. Like it is a series that I have gotten a lot of enjoyment out of. It's just as a very long time Godzilla fan, I grew up on Godzilla, right? So it's just a bit disappointing to see like them try to do this and kind of fall on their face. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even if you do appreciate them maybe trying to take a different take, but they have to do it right. At the end of the day, they have to do it right. So,
Yeah.
anyways, thank you, Nier, so much for helping cover Godzilla
So
singular.
near, you like Godzilla, huh?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Just making sure.
Yeah, just saying, you are a Godzilla fan.
I am.
But yeah, again, thank you for coming to cover Godzilla Singular Point. Again, co-produced by Bones and Orange Studios. Both again, pretty powerful studios. I would say tier 1.5 studios in their own right. And again, if you maybe want to check out more, I mean, a definitely unconventional way of going through the Godzilla experience, then check it out. And with that, we are on to Dark. What do you have for us today?
I have The World Ends With You, the animation. A game I have
Yes.
not yet played.
God damn it.
Maybe one day. Hey man, they were in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. I know all about them.
This is the Shaman King episode all over again.
Here's the thing though. What's interesting is I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the anime is not where you want to get that. Because I don't know. Like, okay, long story short, the plot premise is that a boy named Neku wakes up in the middle of like a crossing in Shibuya, finds out he's dead. He's got a timer on his hand. He has to complete games over the course of 7 like days, and then he can come back to life. And you get like a partner, shit, basic shit. There's like the game master. There's for each like 7 days that sets up like the games essentially, and then there's people called reapers that kind of like wrangle the players in and send out enemies for them to fight and shit. And just try and like essentially keep everyone within the rules. And I guess that's like kind of the basic setup. They use magic and stuff. The anime doesn't really do a great job of explaining it. So there's that. Like, kind of just do it. And yeah, that's kind of where it's at.
Yeah, it's an RPG, dude. There's magic.
I mean, it's hard to say. So Neku meets Shiki, the like red-haired female. Interestingly enough, though, episode 3, I can't imagine. I don't even know. I don't know if this happens that early on in the game or not, or what. But they win by episode 3, and then the what was it? The game master, or not the game? It's either the game master, or whatever the fuck they call him, some other like. No, the head honcho above the game masters. Just like, yeah, okay, Shiki can come back to life. Only one of you gets to come back to life. And then Neku, you're dead. That's about it. And then Neku is like, I'll play the Reaper game again. I'll do it again. No, that seems cool. And then the guy is like, yeah, well, whenever anyone enters the game, they have to give up the thing that's most important to them. And since you have amnesia, Shiki's the most important thing to you. Say goodbye, she's dead again. And then she gets vaporized. And now she's been gone, and I'm up to episode 7. So the goal right now is for Shiki to win again and bring her back somehow. I don't know why he thinks that that's even possible to do. It doesn't, like, I don't know. Unless I missed something, I don't understand why he thinks that's something he can do. Because, like, winning doesn't just let you get, like it's not like you get one wish, as far as it's been explained. You just fucking come back to life. So there's that. And then he meets up with Joshua, the, like, blonde-haired guy, and he's alive, but he plays the game anyway. He's got even stronger magic since he's alive. Now, you might be wondering, why is that the case? I don't know either. But yeah.
So, can I wait? Toaster Near, have you watched this series?
I've seen snippets of animation. I have not watched it. I don't really know how good of an adaptation or a truncation this
Right,
is.
that's what I was about to ask.
The game story.
To be honest, I never played 2E. I usually avoided the people that talked about it all the time, and I was like, and I didn't want to associate with them. So, have I seen it? No. All I know is the Sokotoa meme. And So Zeta Slow. That's it.
Okay, I guess then, Dark, from the viewpoint of, again, somebody who's kind of just basing mainly off the anime, what are your thoughts on the general sort of, I guess, first off, sort of the direction of where the series is going, or where the series might want to wrap up is the bigger question, right?
I have no fucking idea. Like, the series literally might wrap up with, like, Neku gets Shiki back and they're both still fucking dead anyway. Like, there's no way they're getting that far. Like, she's still gone, and he's just, like, talking to Joshua, and he's like, oh yeah, Joshua, you want to, like, take on, like, the master of the game masters. I forget what the hell they call him. Something, but... And he's like, yeah. Like, okay, I'll do that too then, sure. Then also, like, Joshua fucking shot him and killed him with a funny gun that doesn't look like a gun. So there's that as well. Yeah, there's quite a bit going on, and I don't think this series is gonna get, like, fucking anywhere.
How
It's just
many?
like-
It's a 12-episode series,
Yeah,
right?
it's gonna be 12. It's gonna be 12 episodes far. I'm pretty sure.
It's very
Like,
weird. Where is it going to wrap up?
Apparently, this is also based on the manga, which the manga was really bad and only covers, like, the very first part of the game.
I mean, both the
Which
manga
makes
and the
sense,
game are essentially
Does
like.
it really only cover the first week?
No, it's not the first week, but at this rate, it's only going to cover, like, the first couple of weeks at best. Because, like, the first week was Shiki dying at the very end. It was, like, Shiki getting fucking deleted.
I mean,
And now
the
by
game
episode...
the game is only 3 weeks. Like,
Really? So then this might
Yes.
this might make it through all of them, but it must be truncating a fucking lot.
I mean,
I mean, I
probably.
figured
Usually
game-wise,
yeah, they-
Shiki has to be, like... Shiki getting fucking deleted has to be, like, pretty decent in then if it wasn't at the very beginning, you know? And that was, like, episode 4, I think, or episode 3 or 4, and then I'm on, like, 7 now, and I think they have, like, 2 days left for the second week. So yeah, I guess they're gonna get through all of it. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm probably just gonna play the game just to fucking get the story.
I mean, it's a good ass fucking game.
Yeah, like it's just like, I don't know, man. It's fucking whack. Like, I mean, the story can be fine. Like, this could be a fine RPG story. Obviously, what they're doing with it is not good for the show. Like, it just, like, it feels strange. Like, it literally feels like I'm watching it and all the promo material and everything I've seen from it is I'm just like, how are, like, these things are happening way too fast. Like,
Do you think
Rhyme got deleted, like, in episode fucking 2 or something. It's, like, insane.
this is a show just to be like, hey, 12 is coming out, or
Yes,
what?
literally. I mean, it's got to be just that, like,
Yeah, it's
they
just
were
pretty
like,
much all promotion.
the world ends with you. If you want to just play Neo, fucking maybe watch this.
Well,
I wouldn't
it's also
recommend
evident
that.
from what. Sorry, go on. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't recommend that. Like, it's definitely a promo. It's also definitely like it might be an attempt. Yeah, like what Cession said. Also, so people don't need to replay one. It's like, you want a refresher? Like,
It kind
you
of, I mean,
go.
it was sort of evident in the way that Dark also described the manga, how the manga panned out, which was it got, it kind of just covered, like it wasn't even covering, anywhere near the full extent of the game. And it was just like,
Well, I
it kind
mean,
of early,
like,
right? That's the same deal.
honestly though, like, if this anime only covered the first week, probably would have been better. Like, ending with that, and even if they fucking hit you with, like, to be continued in The World Ends With You, the video game, go play it, dumbass, would have been better than, like, breakneck pace introducing characters, being like, Yeah, these are like characters that are pretty important in the game. They're gone now. Bye. Like, say goodbye because they're fucking deleted. Maybe they'll come back later on in the game because the rest of it's all about bringing them back. But you spent almost no time with them. So it's like very weird. And
Yeah,
also,
it seems.
it doesn't help that like visually the show is pretty alright when it's like just characters talking. The main weakness of this is that it's not a lot of characters talking for like probably 50% of it. 50% of it's probably fights, which the fights are boring. There's like no actual like choreography. It's just characters throwing shit out. Interestingly enough, about 50 it is a coin toss on whether or not something's going to look good or not. It's really weird because yeah, Session also brought up they do not make use of like any pins. They bring up the idea of pins in episode 1. I forgot all about them because I don't even remember what they do or why they're important. Oh yeah, and then Neku just like uses fire and lightning blocks. That's about it during the entire show. Now granted the fire effect is like kind of cool. Show has really bad CG at some points, and like at some points it's like they didn't even attempt to blend it, which is the really weird part. Like the style looks completely different, and then there's other times when they do, but even that like that looks like like kind of whatever. But then it's like for some reason they put in a lot of. It seemed like they put in a decent amount of work into like making Neku's fire look pretty good. And then they follow that up with the hit effects of the fire being like a fucking After Effects pack that they bought. I mean, I think it's like particle effects, but it's like very basic explosion particle effects that don't match the show whatsoever. They don't even match like the non-matched up CG show. It's very fucking bad. Genuinely lifting, if you could think of an explosion from literally any video game you have ever played, that would probably match the style of the show more than these. I cannot stress enough are like a fucking tutorial on how to like make a particle effect. And you just took that and you were like, I am only going to do what this 10-minute YouTube video has told me. That is the only thing. I'm not going to tweak any other fucking settings whatsoever. That's it. Yeah, they just look bad. I mean, I don't know if they made them. I don't know if they're just fucking overlays they found or what, but you know, like maybe they were hitting up some fucking like 2007 Freddie W videos. You know? Fuck knows, but it doesn't look good. Which is unfortunate because again, like just the characters talking, like it looks pretty all right. The style of the show is like pretty cool.
That is pretty unfortunate, honestly.
Yeah, I mean it's just like it's not. Yeah, of all the things like to have the presentation for fights be like bad is obviously not where you'd want to skip out on a fucking like RPG series show. Like, so yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I guess realistically, like the only reason that it was made was as a fucking promo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, it again, pretty evident from again, what you described in the manga as well, that, all of this is the usual promo stuff, but, it is what it is. It's that and the usual heavy truncations they have to make due to, or heavy truncations. And also, the visual style does seem to emulate the game style uh, pretty decently. But in terms of, like, how do I say this? A lot of the times when the original material is getting translated into a promotional material, I'm not going to say, which direction it's going, whether it's from game to visual novel, or sorry, from game to light novel to manga, or from manga back to light novel, or whatever it is. It usually does take a more, like, fuck it, just do it, just do some shit, bro. Like, it kind of ends up being a much more kind of hand wavy experience from what I've experienced over the years. So again, it's a little bit unfortunate that it had to turn out that way. But oh well. Any last words?
Yeah, like go play the game, I guess. I mean, if the game is available, I mean, also, I assume the game is voiced. If it's in Japanese, one of the Reapers is voiced by Satomi Arai, which is pretty. But no, there's only so much that could so far that can go.
Right. Okay. So think that was Dark, covering The World Ends With You, the animation. And if you want to, I guess, check it out. It is a little bit more on the, obviously, sort of lighter, sort of promotional series on the side. So don't expect some sort of, like, complete, awesome adaptation with everything and the kitchen sink included. But yeah, please do check it out if you are maybe a fan of the series. And with that, I guess I'm going next with 86. So this is a light novel series. What is it? Who is it done by? Cloverworks, if I remember correctly. Is it Cloverworks? Yeah, it's A1 Pictures.
Is it 86 or Hachiroku's Fire?
No, it says 86 in.
Here, he doesn't know the reference.
What?
Near, he doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Huh?
Monka S.
What
Oh.
the fuck are you talking about? Whatever, bro. Okay.
I don't know either.
I don't know what the fuck.
You
is going on
don't know
with
what you don't know what Hachiroku is, Fire?
What are you talking about?
Oh no!
All right,
It's Initial D stuff, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know. I don't know anything about Initial D. So, okay. Anyways, what the fuck? Okay, Toast made me lose my train of thought. Anyways,
Good.
okay, yeah. So it's A1 Pictures, I believe. I think it's Clover. I thought it was Cloverworks, but apparently it's strictly. It might be strictly under. I don't know at this point who's doing what, but it's either A1 or Cloverworks. But a light novel, original. What is it? It's the usual kind of European front World War-ish setting with advanced technology. People are fighting, Empire versus Republic, or whatever the fuck, the usual shenanigans with Japanese anime and them doing stuff. They're fighting with the other side, the opposing side, the Empire is has a bunch of autonomous mechanized machines, I guess, called legions that fight against the Republic's sort of controlled mechs, autonomous units called juggernauts, and they are controlled by these mechs are controlled by humans essentially, but the humans inside these autonomous units are part of a minority within the Republic called 86. So these minorities are pretty much always, looked down on. They are persecuted. They're treated as less than human, and by the dominant race, the majority race called the Alba race. And since the Republic itself is, Alba a majority and Alba supremacist, it uses the 86 minority to kind of do whatever it wants, including drive these war machines and go off into the fields of war and potentially die, and all that stuff. And then the rest of the story, I won't go into the exposition. You can find that out for yourself if you really want to go through the series. It is essentially a back and forth between the captain, the commander on the top, who is called a handler, who is always an Alba, essentially the majority race, trying to control a squadron of 86 pilots and juggernauts who are, kind of always resentful, right? They're like, you've always treated us unequally, and you're trying to command us, and why like, you don't know anything about us, right? Essentially, we're just this sort of downtrodden minority, while the main character, the protagonist of the series, who is the handler, the captain handling the minorities, is a female captain trying to kind of understand what they're going through and understand the situation and kind of trying to play nice, right? She's an ideal young lady who's all like, we got to treat these 86 like humans as well. They have to be equal to us. They can't be, looked down upon. Their lives can't be just thrown in the dustbin, essentially. And that's the whole sort of one of the central themes of the story, which is the whole not like class conflict, but I guess in a sense racism, right? The racial conflict in a sense, and kind of it's not really getting into race, but I'll explain that a little bit later. But essentially, discrimination. Yeah, discrimination is the central topic, and then they're kind of going through the standard rigmarole, and then partway throughout the series, they go into a little bit more exposition about the dark side of the war going on between the two sides, and the secret behind the machines, and all of that other goofy, dark, edgy stuff. There's a lot of people that get introduced and then they get killed. The pacing of people getting killed is approximately the same as, I want to say, a Kame ga Kill. For those of you who know the series, people kind of just get chopped down like fucking branches on a bonsai tree, left, right, and center, except for the people that are, desperately needed, right? The main heroine, or the main character, as well as the people closest to her, are pretty much always kept alive until the very end. So that's sort of how it is. And the rest of the story is this mix again between the whole handling the discrimination and going through and getting behind more and more of the lore behind the war of how the war is going on, what the whole like mechanized legions and mechanized machines and all this stuff is about, why the 86 are always forced to fight in these mechs all the time, and so on. So audio visuals going in, Cloverworks, obviously a very solid studio, sister company or spin-off of A1 Pictures. They did a pretty good job this time. The lines were the lines were drawn was a little bit weird to me. It kind of reminded me of Shimoneta, if you guys know that series. What was it called? It was like シモナタという概念が存在しない退屈な世界, or Shimonata, a boring world where the concept of dirty jokes doesn't exist. It kind of reminded me of the anime adaptation of that by JC Staff. It was very interesting. I didn't hate it. In terms of the 3D visuals, when the mechs are fighting and stuff like that, was pretty standard. Nothing to write home about. The audio stuff also wasn't impressive. The OP, I liked. It was pretty decent in terms of how its novelty factor, but it didn't really catch on with me. Anyways, so that's a little bit quickly going over the audio visuals. I mean, I'm just comparing the visuals to Shimoneta is all. It's not. Shimoneta is a series that exists in this world, but anyways, a review about the series, huh? Okay, so I think 86. How do I say this? Let me first start off by saying that the way that Japanese anime treats discrimination is about as impressive about as how superhero movies tend to treat the whole like gritty, oh I'm a superhero but I'm a human with flaws too kind of storyline.
I'd say
And
it's worse.
yes, insofar as superhero movies oftentimes have so much money and enough famous people stacked to the brim so that they manage to shit out something that's barely tolerable within those frameworks. But the base framework of the superhero movie being dark and gritty and unrealistic, dark and gritty and realistic is the whole like, oh, I'm flying around, but oh man, I came upon this thing, and the villain, while in his last breath, or the collateral damage people are like, you've done bad things too, incidentally, blah blah blah, and then I have a mental breakdown, and then at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm only human, but I just gotta do what I do for my family and friends, and blah blah blah, all that shit, right? And that's the usual timeline. And the discrimination is again very similar in terms of the how do I say this the narrow hallway that they run in, which is they're all like, oh man, there's somebody else, but we gotta treat them like humans. But oh man, these other people, they won't accept me, and then these other people are always not treating them like humans. So what I just gotta constantly fight and fight and fight, and I'll keep fighting until the end, guys. And then they accept the main character, and then stuff happens. It's a very how do I say this? It's not
Childish?
a
I don't know. To me, it
it's
always seemed
it's
like
a
it's a very like
so the problem is this. It's not necessarily that the framework is unrealistic, because obviously that's a basic concept of, well, it does exist, but the idea is that, how do I say this? The I'll say the standard good end for discrimination stories, right? So when I say standard good end, I mean the standard response to somebody being discriminated against being that the main character goes, "Oh man, I'll fight against that," or "I'll try to reach out to the constantly and try to create a bridge." So I'll call that the standard good end, or the standard good route for a discrimination based story. Um, it's not necessarily that the framework doesn't exist in real life, or that it's super cheesy or whatever. Clearly that those sorts of people exist, and it's like a thing that happens. But the problem with Japanese anime is that it does it's not even surface level. It's almost like it's like it's like very it's like the thing on top of it's like the skin on top of the surface. They do a very 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 shallow dive.
I don't know, man. It's like tackling the the topic of discrimination from like an already ignorant perspective. You know,
well,
like-
I did. I wanted to get into that a little bit in a more sensitive way, but I do agree with you. That's also a big part of it. That is also a big part of it. I think the lack of, how do I say this, historical knowledge / experience is one thing, but I think in general the idea is that these these people do not write about the various ways that people can experience discrimination and kind of react to it in a more complex and, again, in a multitude of ways, right? Again, people it's not just necessarily about the idealism versus fighting against discrimination versus I gotta be accepted versus the discriminated people being all, like kind of like tsundere, like, oh man, I don't want to be with you because you're, the Aryan people, blah blah. It's not necessarily about that, or I mean, it's not necessarily just that. That's a very sort of green eggs and ham approach to that thing, and they could definitely improve it more. So that's the sort of initial complaint I have about discrimination based themes in Japanese anime. Now, that being said, the second step after that, the second point I want to make after that is that a lot of these series more recently that have shown these themes of discrimination, I want to say something like Alno Zero, right, have also had their own problems within the series that are apart from discrimination, mainly being their pacing, their, the terrible character development, the fact that they're just, they just have like shit going on, and the lore trying to be explained, and the secret behind the war, and the secret behind the forbidden technology, and the secret behind blah blah blah, and then some things have to be hidden, but then the other things kind of remain a mystery, and then kind of slowly get uncovered from episode 6 to episode 10, and then they had to fight against it in episode 11, 12, and all that shit, right? The whole like piecing out the lore and keeping some of it a mystery, and then the blah 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 blah, and all of this shit kind of turns into a shit fest in terms of trying to stuff it into a 12 episode or 24 episode season. And again, Out No Zero was certainly a big example of that. One moment they're talking about class warfare, the other moment, half of them are getting evaporated by a grimace mech, right? So yeah, they friggin' slayed on your ass. So that's another, again, been the second problem of Japanese anime, Japanese media kind of portrayal of this, because oftentimes in more recent stuff, these themes have popped up a little bit more in these sorts of like World War II European themes set to advanced technology, cyberpunk or steampunk kind of series, where they're always doing some sort of like edgy war kind of stuff, but in the middle of it, there's discrimination and whatever, blah blah, in the war and stuff like that. Like, so they're trying to juggle all of the different plot points, but they're failing on multiple fronts, and the anime goes to shit. So that's the second problem I have, or the second sort of point I want to make. And now we come to 86. So 86, my overall verdict is that it is an improvement upon the burning piles of poop that was something like Albella's Hero. It is an improvement. I will give it that.
Congrats.
Slow clap. It does pass that, that sort of test. But it still suffers a major problem from the 2 points I explained earlier. One being, again, the simplification of the sorts of spinning of the themes of discrimination. Although one thing I did kind of appreciate, although it didn't, expand upon it as much as I kind of hoped they did, was they were kind of talking about the ways they were, they're just talking about like, you're sitting back there, all behind the lines while commanding us all day. You don't know what it's like to be like us, and like you're kind of always, discriminating against us, like you're just an idiot who's just idealistic idiot, blah 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 blah, and they're all fighting and all that with the main character, while the main character trying to convince them that she's a nice person and she really means best for them all, blah blah blah, right? And so in the middle of this, they mentioned to her that so they have all these call signs. By call signs, they just mean kind of nicknames in this case, because real call signs are different. But they have these like nicknames like the Undertaker or whatever it is.
Oh,
No, I'm not even
shit.
kidding. I am not.
Is that real?
Yes, the male sort of like character who's who obviously is the love interest for the main character, the female captain, right, is called the Undertaker. There is the other one who's called like Werewolf. There's like Laughing Fox, stuff like that, like all these like random nicknames, right?
And Metal
Which are not
Gear
real.
and WWE. That's
But yeah.
Is there someone called like Octopus or
No. It's
or
all like
Raven?
it's all cool stuff like the Snow Witch or Gunslinger or something.
It started to sound
But,
like a Foxhound over here.
Shadow the Hedgehog.
No,
But yeah,
just Shadow, and then another guy named Hedgehog.
exactly. But yeah, so they mention in the during this like exchange that the female captain, the main character, has only bothered to memorize the call signs of the individual characters and not the actual names of the other people, the minority people. So that sort of goes into a conversation about implicit unconscious bias, right? A bias that you kind of naturally do as like that you might not notice kind of yourself being racist or prejudiced or whatever, but you kind of just do it as a result of sort of the environment that you're
It
present.
kind of doesn't really work when it's call signs, but
Right. Well,
basically
what
the
I'm saying, it's
It's
go on, sir.
basically the equivalent of saying the N-word. Or is that
No,
what
I
you're
think
getting at?
I think that's slightly different.
did they get into that?
But what I'm saying is that Dark makes a good point where it's like it's a little bit less like it's the whole call sign, so it's a little bit of stretch, but it is a good starting point. At least it's a step. It's still half a step or more above what they usually don't cover in Japanese anime, right?
I would say
So I
yeah,
thought,
but one detractor I've already noticed is pretty bold of these people to be talking mad shit to a superior officer and while being essentially slaves.
yeah, that's
Kind
also a
of
thing too.
that's another thing that I think like anime does quite a bit with this type of shit where it's like
Yeah.
this oppressed race essentially, and then they talk mad shit, and it's like, well,
yeah.
it's not even like
Usually
some
when
of
you hear
them,
accounts,
it's like all
yeah.
of them talk shit. It's like, what the
Yeah.
fuck are you
Usually when you
talking
hear
about?
accounts of like real, like people that were like really oppressed, it's very like there's this sense of like timidness, right? Like especially when you hear people of accounts of apartheid, right? South Africa, stuff like that. It's always very like they were always kind of wary of everything, right? Stuff like that. So it's
Yeah,
not
unless this is going to be like an open like conflict, like you're not going to have constant or near constant fucking like blanket hostility from like
it's not naked hospitality. That's an excellent phrase. That's exactly the phrase. So it's like again, it's proof that these writers, I'm gonna say, part of it's not being as attuned to the idea of ethno-racial conflict, but it's also partly because they're fucking anime writers who are lazy and don't do much research, or the light novel writer or whatever, and don't do much research and kind of just wrote shits and giggles, whatever. But I would still say it's a starting point that kind of can lead into a better fictional representation of what discrimination can be like in anime, and kind of go into that. And then we come into the second much bigger problem, which is this series still fucking, much like Aldnoah Zero, has too much of a problem of trying to juggle all these lore points at once and trying to do the whole edgy thing of like, oh man, but the secret behind the forbidden technology, and the secret behind the war, and the secret behind this, and the secret behind that. I'm like, no, I don't. Look, fuck the secrets, fuck this like war plot, whatever, bro. I don't care. Honestly, like, I'm sorry. I know some people out there are like fans of edgy war things where secret forbidden technology has to be defeated and rooted out and peace has to be brought. I don't really give a fuck. Right? Like, you've seen one World War, European Front War in anime format. You've seen 1,000. I'm not particularly impressed. The and the bigger thing was, this is, it's not like they're particularly doing a huge awesome job of like drawing me in with what the secret was and why it's so bad, and like, oh my god, like such, wow, this is such interesting lore. No, it was just standard like edgy, bad things are bad things kind of lore. Like, this is really bad because they use some really bad sort of technology with it, and blah blah blah, blah, right? And then so happens that this explanation of the lore, the main cast of characters having to take actions to try to defeat it, the female captain, the main heroine, finding out more about how the Republic is discriminating against the 86, the minority, and stuff like that. More and more, in time goes on, more and more of the awful secrets kind of takes up time that I think would have been better solved again by delving a little bit deeper into the discrimination theme in a way that other anime series haven't. And I think, and the reason why I wanted this, obviously, other than novelty, is not necessarily because I'm trying to parse this as some sort of like one of those, like, oh, I'm like a woke anime nerd on Twitter that wants to see all sorts. No, that's not the point. The point is that one of the major themes of this series, like, obviously the one of the major themes of this series that the author wants to pinpoint, like, kind of delineate, is discrimination, and how people have to deal with it, right? So if we're going to do that, then do it right, and don't do discrimination for like 1.75 episodes and then go into this whole thing of like, oh man, but we got to go back and defeat the forbidden technology, and the cast of characters is getting blown left, right, and center, kind of like a comic kill for no real good reason other than to be edgy. And then war, and then more war, and then the secrets behind the war, and then the Republic is also bad too, and blah 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 blah. Like, I'm not that interested. Look, just give me the discrimination part already, okay? Like, let's cut the shit. So that's more or less how I felt about it. Again, overall, I do think it's a half a step up, a quarter of a step up, a quarter of a step up from something like a standard,
What even
advanced
even
technology.
is the presence of the Empire in this? Like, Are
The
they
presence of the Empire is to
are they literally
have-
just an excuse to like have mech combat or what?
they're an excuse to provide horrific, like it's like horrific opponents to the main characters is sort of how it is. It's like they are the enemy that does really fucked up shit. It's like
So
it's
they're
essentially
so they're
it's like
racist, but
it's like Terminator robots. You know
so
what I
they're
mean? Where
just
it's
they're
like,
just they're literally a cartoon evil.
yeah. I mean, there's not really the Empire's lore itself is not that much relevant so much as the machines that they're using to wreak havoc with. So it's like, again, it's like Terminator robots, where it's like you don't really care about. It's not like a Transformer thing where you don't care about the planet that they came from. You just know that the Terminator robots are really fucking bad, and you gotta put a wrench in things. You know what I mean? It's sort of like that. So yeah, so they're kind of there to provide the fear factor in within the story. Yeah. But yeah, I was. It's a quarter of a step above the standard World War One, World War Two style European. I guess it is World War One because it's no. I guess it is World War One because it's more static, but whatever. Either way, it's a World War style European front kind of, Empire Republic, blah 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 blah. Advanced technology kind of thing. It's a quarter of a step above because they try to kind of delve into maybe more complicated interactions and thoughts and perspectives about discrimination and how it works amongst people in the earlier episodes. But then the rest of it's kind of like, again, the whole trying to juggle the whole lore and horrific things happening and people dying here and there, blah, 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 blah. And again, not very interested in that. It didn't turn into a complete shit fest like it did Aldnoah Zero kind of shit it up, but again, that's not a high bar.
That is not that
That is extremely low.
Underground.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say. So that's pretty much all I had in terms of the review for 86. If you want to, honestly, I wouldn't really recommend it. I'm not particularly impressed by it either. But what I hope is that after 86, we'll have not inspired by 86. Yeah, racism is solved.
Racism,
but
over.
Yeah, I hope that more Japanese anime. Yeah, thank you, anime. But what I hope is that as time goes on, more Japanese authors for light novels and manga and stuff like that, and anime screenwriters, whatever, serious competition people, will take a harder, longer look / thought on this theme of discrimination, not just attach it to whenever there's like a war with and then there's like a slave race, and then there's like the empire's race and blah blah blah. I don't want the whole empire class conflict during war kind of shit. That's really not particularly creative. I'm not very impressed.
So what you're saying is Black Bullet did it better?
Maybe. Excuse me. So I just wanted people to take a closer, harder look when they're writing about discrimination. Maybe write more sort of not mellowed out, but more nuanced, thought out stuff about discrimination. That's not just, I don't like you because you're the people that oppressed my race for so long, and then the main character is like, oh, but I consider you as people, so I gotta save you even if you don't like me. And everybody else is
good
like,
ones.
yeah, exactly.
I'm an ally.
Yeah, but I really care about you. And then 8 episodes, and the main character is in trouble because of a monster, and then the oppressed race people finally decide, no, he's been a nice dude, and then saves him at the last moment or some shit like that.
Yeah,
the
he's
usual.
one of the good ones. Racism solved.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not, again, we need to get past the screen eggs and ham level kind of thing. It's not even about being woke or whatever. It's about, writing good literature, writing actually good plots and characters. Like, come on, let's get on to it. It's 2021. So, good review. Okay. Anyways, so that's my review. 86, barely a quarter of a step up from standard, European war, discrimination, class conflict, ethno-racial conflict kind of thing. If you want to check it out, don't. I don't know what else to say. Don't, unless you really have a lot of time. But it is what it is.
So you're saying 80? Your 86 is 86?
It's
What
not an
the
86.
fuck are
It's
you
lower.
saying?
It's probably lower than. It's like 68. I would say it's a 68 at best.
None
That
of
is
you get
way higher than I thought.
none of you get the
No,
joke.
86ing
Never
is
mind.
like, isn't that when like leaving or whatever? Is that what they?
Yes. It's when you cancel an order or you like kick someone out
Oh, okay.
of like a bar or a restaurant.
Okay.
Need your help. He doesn't get any of the 86 references. Execute order 86.
Execute order
not-
86.
That's not what he said.
That's not. Anyways, so yeah, that's all I had to say about A6. And that, last but not least, let's get on to Toast.
It's me. First off, I hate the names in this series. Okay, I had to Google it because apparently these names are super wonky, but they're all Fire Emblem references. Like
What?
the main character is Suiharu Maru, like Maru Marth, and then
What?
That is a
Sheeta.
stretch.
Then Sheeta is also Sheeta from Fire Emblem.
Did they really say that?
Kachi is Katria, and then Kaya and Maria are Kane and Maria. What the hell is this? Are they doing? This is like a freaking Amagi Brilliant Park again, all over again with Kanye West and whatever.
I don't know if that was actually the case with Amagi. Throw that out there.
But yeah, I looked it up because like, why are these names so weird? And that's what Wikipedia tells me. Wikipedia
Oh,
lie.
wow. It really is. Okay, apparently. That's
That is
weird.
fucking bizarre.
That's
Also-
weird.
Also, all the girls have color names. I'll go into that later when I talk about them. All right. So this series. All right, I haven't said the title yet.
Do you want me to read it? Or?
Yeah, no.
No, okay.
Near, you read it.
Me?
Damn, real
Yeah, Near, you
curveball.
read it. Yeah.
That was unexpected.
I'm throwing a
What-
curveball. You do
What
it.
is this one? Osananajimi?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Osananajimi ga Zettai ni Makenai Rabu Kome, or Osamake, a rom-com where the childhood friend won't lose. Or can't lose, whatever.
Yeah, that one. So apparently, this is a light novel original illustrated by Shigeru Yui. I don't care who the writer is. I don't remember his name, but it's illustrated by Shigeru Yui. And she has a cameo in episode 2. She says one voice line from like, it's a background character. You don't even see her. It's just her voice. And I'm like, that's cool. But yeah, the only reason I decided to watch this is because Shigeru Yui's in it, and I got my cameo, and I'm satisfied. Okay,
so this
alright,
is Doga series, by the way.
Yeah, well,
pretty good studio.
it says right there in the picture. It's by Doga Kobo.
Yeah,
I picked that one for that reason. So alright, so the main character voiced by Kirito, his name's Sueharu Marth.
Please. Okay, keep going.
Well, yeah, and his whole shtick is he's a former child actor who gave up child acting after his mom got killed by a truck in a drama or something. So now he's a normal high school student.
Yo, what the fuck is this?
Wait, who got
what is
killed
this
in a truck in a drama? What?
He's a former
Okay.
child actor. So and in one of his dramas, his mom, who was playing his mom, got killed in a truck accident. Like
So he was just like,
filming.
I don't
He,
like
he was
this. Wait,
traumatized. Yeah.
she actually. I thought it was
Yeah,
that just in
she
the
died for
show.
real
She
in
yeah
an
she died for
accident
real.
during the filming of the
Oh,
thing.
And so he's like, I'm gonna finish this drama, but after that I'm done because my mom was the reason why I wanted to become a child actor anyway. So now he's this legendary child actor that faded into the shadows. Now he's a normal high school student. And then he's got a crush on this girl named from named Shiro Kusakachi, voiced by Ayane Sakura.
Yeah. By the way, just a very short tangent. This list of voice actors slash actresses is like a legit list of the current like A tier younger like super famous like voice actresses. It's Yoshisuke Matsuoka, Inori Minase, voicing Shira Kuroha, Sakura Ayane voicing Kachi Shirokusa, Onishi Saori for Momosaka Maria, Shimazaki Nobunaga for Kai Tatsuhiko, Terashima Takuma, blah blah, Mao, what is it? Fujita Akane, Hondo Kaede, and Takashi Minami. So pretty much all of the A-listers. But anyway, sorry, keep going.
So yeah, he's in love. He's in love with this Shiro Kusakachi girl because she's a cool beauty. And he was like, "Hey, I read your script that one time. It's super cool." She's like, "Wow, thanks." Because I guess we're somewhat friends now. And so he fell in love with her. Then she was like, and he's talking to his dude friend. He's all like, "Hey, dude, I like this. I like the cool beauty of our school. I think we're gonna confess to her." And then people around her suddenly go, "Hey, wait, hey, hey, Kachi, I heard you got a boyfriend named Abe Senpai, and he's a super cool actor." And she's like, "Yeah, I guess so." And so the main character's like, "Damn, there goes my first love." And then in comes his childhood friend, Kuroha Shida, voiced by, that's, you know what I mean, I say. And she's all like, "Hey, dude, I've been with you. I'm your childhood friend. I've been with you all this time, and I confessed to you once, and you said no. Want to get revenge on that girl you like?" And he's like, "Damn, I've been rejected. Now I'm mad at the world and at that Abe dude. Let's do it." She's like, "Okay, but we got to pretend date, because I like you, so it's all win-win for me. I get to be your pretend girlfriend, and you get to potentially make uh, Kachi jealous." And
Jealous.
he's like, "All right, I'm gonna do it."
So this is a pretty like standard premise, honestly,
No,
right?
it's
Like
not. Spire, let me
yeah,
finish. This is it.
yeah,
We get to the good part. All right, let me
okay,
continue
yeah, okay, keep going.
because this shit's hilarious. Okay, and then some stuff happens, and he's like, "All right, dude, how do we get revenge on them, on those two losers? I know. At the cultural festival, we're gonna host a play, and and since the current Abe Senpai guy is an actor, and you are a former child actor, it's time to get him back for it." And he's like, "All right, let's do it this way." And but then he's like, "But dude, who's gonna write the script? We need some world famous script writer in order to beat Abe Senpai." So the dude, he's all like, "All right, hey, hey, Kachi, hey, the girl that I'm trying to get revenge on, would you write a script for me?" She's like, "Yeah, okay, on one condition." And he's like, "What's the condition?" And then she's all like, "What the condition is that you tell me why the reason you quit acting." And then he tells her like, "Oh, during one of our shoots, when I was friends with this little dude named Shiro, my mom died in an accident, and I gave up acting, even though I promised this little kid named Shiro, who's also my friend, that I would perform using one of his scripts one day. But I gave up on that promise because, my mom died. She's like, and then Kachi's like, "Oh, that's cool. Okay, here you go." And then and then the festival day happens, and then guess what? His childhood friend Shiro appears, out of nowhere, even though they haven't talked to each other in like years. He's all like, "Hey, dude."
So you're describing a series of harem events. The harem is being introduced, but then the psychic also kind of.
So he's going like, "Hey, dude, I heard you're starting to act again. Did you forget that? Did you remember the promise we made when we were kids?" And the main character goes, "Hey, Shiro, yeah, I remember our promise. Even though it took me a long way to get here, I'm acting again." And then Shiro's like, "That's cool." And then Shiro takes off his hat, and guess who it is? It's Shiro Kusakachi. Get it? Get it? Because her name's Shiro Kusa, and his best friend was named Kusa. Shiro, I mean, just Shiro, back when they were kids. Lo and behold.
So again, it's the whole.
So lo and behold, they're both childhood friends.
Okay. So again,
and then at the festival, the main character dude, he upends Abe senpai, and then he was all like, "All right, now that I've beat you, now that I've beat you, I'm going to confess."
Okay.
Because
That is
I've defeated you in battle, so now I take your woman, that kind of thing. Because apparently they were not going out, but the Abe dude was going to confess to Kachi.
Okay.
So then the main character goes, "All right, so I did this because I wanted to get back at Kachi and make you my woman, but then I changed my mind. Hey Kuroha, what's her name again? I hate the names in here. Hey, Kuro Hashida, my childhood friend who's been with me all this time on this revenge plot. I love you. Please go out with me." And then Kuro's like, "No. No." Even though she likes him, she said no. So, yeah. This is just the first 3 episodes, by the way. And the whole plot is they're both childhood friends and they all like the same dude, but But then Kuroha and the other guy rejected each other, but both girls like this dude. So now they're in some sort of weird love denial triangle thing.
Wow, it's like some sort of harem or something.
I'm literally like, I don't think like I was turning my mic off so you guys couldn't hear me, but like you guys know like you know those like not TikTok videos, but like those like shorts like on YouTube and shit, where those meme videos where it's like there's like that rubber chicken and then the guy pours the water into the throat and then it makes like a sound. That's literally the sound I've been making in the past 10 minutes.
So this is like right there. This is 3 episodes where dude likes this chick and the chick likes him back, but they don't know. And then this chick likes that dude, and he denied her that one time, but then he realized the error of his ways and tried to confess to the other chick, and then she's like no, and they denied each other. And honestly, that would have been the perfect ending to the series right there. Like it's episode 3. But then
I think the perfect
then
ending
it
to the
continues.
series should have been the fucking like publisher, whatever you
I
call
mean,
it,
this
reading
is
it and then saying no.
I mean, this is just like every other harem. I mean, this is essentially look. This is the whole like will they won't they mistake based railroad harem, but with the Nakaimo premise, except slightly less railroad than that. And then it's just running that with the childhood friend variant. That's just how it is, right? It's essentially Nakaimo, but it's slightly less railroaded.
I thought it was more like freaking Haganai, considering, hey, there's a
Haganai.
childhood friend with the dark-haired girl, but then guess what? This other girl's also your childhood friend. And I was like, I got immediate Haganai vibes here.
Haganai, you sort of, because Haganai has a little bit of slower development and it's a little bit more focused on. It almost has the whole like Konosuba-ish like contrarian focus vibes on it, but yeah, you could be right on the money about that. Although I think the focus on Haganai is that the author tries to unfurl it pretty slowly, mainly because the author is retarded. But yeah, sure. But I mean, I'm already so tired listening to this, honestly.
That's
I'm
just
like,
episode 3. I
I
believe we're
mean,
currently on
it's
episode 8.
you don't need to expose the
I
episode.
still, I
I
still
already know
haven't
this.
talked about the final character. Okay,
Oh, baby.
the final character who appears, who's because the whole confession things that dude's friend put it on YouTube, and he was
Yes.
like, "Hey, dude, you're back in the limelight now," and he's like, "Oh, damn, how dare you do that?" All right, and then guess who appears? Fire, a third childhood friend.
Wow. It's
This
just
Wow, that is
oh
so
god.
real and crazy.
I want to literally like this like I'm getting Nakayama PTSD all over again, and I just want to like punch a hole in my skull right now. I don't think you understand.
So this
Oh,
third girl named Maria Momosaka, she's all like, hey, Oni-chan, remember when I was a child act when I'm also a child actor yeah. Remember when you and I were both child actors and you were my
right.
senpai,
Mhm.
and I looked up to you and then you suddenly quit? Well, I found you again. So now we have a third girl in the mix. And he's like, yeah.
The thing is, like, I don't hate harems. Again, I've maintained this position since forever, right? And everybody sort of knows what position I have. I think harems are just like a literary tool that Japanese anime literature based tool, and it is what it is. But this whole thing of like the complete lack of surprise at how this unfurls so far is just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So all right. So now we
What's
introduce
your?
all the characters. Let me tell you about them. All right.
Don't tell me. Okay, look. Don't. No,
All
okay.
the main characters. They're all terrible people. Okay.
Coast. Okay. Look.
Because of the
Okay. Can we cut the exposition short and just kind of
I'm
go over to
talking
your
about the
overall
characters
view?
now, Spy. This is not
Okay.
exposition.
Okay.
Calm down, dude. You good?
All right.
Okay then.
Go on. Go on.
So now that we got all the characters squared away, the main characters they all suck. Okay, they're all
Okay.
terrible people.
Yes. Very original.
The main character, dude, he's all like, oh, I wanted to get revenge on this girl, and oh, I got all my childhood angst and whatnot. But he's not the type of main character you like, I guess. Because he's super dense about, he's obviously super dense about the girls' relationships and whatnot. And he's not a very likable character. We can write him off. Then you have Shira. No, we got Kuroha Shida. Okay, she's
Hmm?
speaking of her. She's the one with a black color, because all the girls have black colored names. But also her name means what was it? Kuroha? No. Is it Kuroha? Yeah, it's Kuroha. No, Kuroha? Kuroda? No,
No, it's
it's Koro.
Kuroha.
It's Kuroha.
Black wing,
You know
essentially.
what
Yeah.
Kuroha sounds like, Spire?
What?
Sounds like clover. See, that's why she's got the green
What?
clover.
What?
She's got the green clover hairpin. Get it?
Wait, is that why they
Yes,
actually
this
do
is
it?
actual thing.
Holy
This
shit! Okay.
That is
All
that
right.
is a stretch of the imagination.
You know what's even more of a stretch? You know the other girl, Shirakusa Kachi. You know what a
Yes.
Shirakusa is? A white clover. So she's got a white clover pin. Get it?
This thing is like Shirokusa at least has the kanji for white and grass, so that I understand. But Kuroha is formed of the kanji for black and wing or feather, so
Yeah,
it's
but it's also a word for like kuroha,
yeah,
kurova. But yeah, that's
Not quite.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, that's
already I'm already
that's-
banging my face. On
that's
the
literally
table.
the reason they said in the anime. So
Yeah.
you
No,
need
no,
to read
I
it out.
trust you, Toast. I trust
And
you.
then there's Momo, who's Pichu. Okay, but yeah, all these characters suck. Main character, who cares? He's a wimp simp guy. Himbo. Yeah, well, I guess he is a himbo because he's a child actor.
Okay.
So, and then
I don't know if you can say that, but all right.
well, he's
Keep
useless.
Yeah, well, keep
Then
going.
and then you got Kuroha, the childhood friend with the blonde hair that's been with him all this time. She's she plays the big sister side to him. She's always there when he needs her, whatever. And after she confessed and she got rejected, and then when he gave his heartfelt confession to her, she rejected him instantly. It's like, are you sure you like him or not? Like, did you want to tease him for this or whatever? Because and then she's all like, "Oh, I instantly regret. I regret denying your confession." And you know what happens in the next episode? She develops amnesia. All right.
What the
And
fuck?
she's all like, "Hey, hey, hey, dude,
Don't you understand?
I have, yeah,
It's funny.
I have I have selective amnesia, so that I remember everything up to the point where you confessed to me." I'm like, "Did you confess to me and I denied you? No, I don't think I did."
When the fuck did this suddenly turn into Ishikan friends, 1 week friends? What the fuck
But,
is this shit?
Oh, because
man?
it's
But,
funny, Spire. It's
yeah, it's funny, Spire.
Yeah.
She wanted to reset the relationship because she messed up super bad. So now she has. It's actually really fake. Everyone can tell it's fake. She has fake amnesia. She's like, "Oh, what happened here? I don't know."
It's
Da di da di
okay,
da.
yeah.
And that's like, really? That's a dick move to do. Then like,
Oh, it's the fake amnesia thing. That's more acceptable, but it's not any less. It's
I mean,
still
and
pretty common.
then like
Okay.
that obviously makes the one voiced by Ayane Sakura Shiro Kusa. I'm just gonna call her Shiro now. That obviously makes her the least least hated girl in like the series so far, from what I've gleaned from reviews, because her whole shtick about revenge was that she wanted to get revenge on the dude for breaking their childhood promise for him to act one of her scripts, but she didn't know that his mom died. So he's like, "Oh man, that's kind of like I'm sorry I was such a dick to you, and I pretended I have a boyfriend, whatever." And now she's back to being interested in the main character. So I mean, she's the least hateable one. So everyone's rooting for her because she's not the one with trying to act like selective amnesia. She's the one actively pursuing the MC at this point, and whatever. And then there's whatever. And then there's the side characters are infinitely more interesting than the main characters, because the dude's friend. What's his name? I don't care what his name is. The main dude's friend, he's all like, "I'm just doing this for shits and giggles. This is funny to watch, so I'll help you out in this. I'll help out either side as long as it's interesting." And then what is it? That Abe dude, who was Shiro's fake boyfriend. Turns out
Yeah, Mitsuru Abe.
that dude was like, "Hey man, Shiro's like a little sister to me, so I wasn't interested in her in this first place. I only did this to help her out because I know that she likes the main guy, and and guess what? I'm also a fan of the main character's acting. That's the whole reason I want to become an actor in the first place. So he's playing the bad guy just to get them all together. It's like, good for you, dude. You're a good person." And that's all I want to say about the characters.
Yeah, I think pretty much all the sidekicks are set up to be, helpful although they'll cause like the initial problem maybe or whatever, but they're all set up to be helpful, and then the harem is the harem and all that bullshit.
But yeah, this series it was a wild ride between episodes 1 and 3. 1 through 3. First episode, I didn't like the Ayane Sakura characters. Like, wow, she's a dick and whatever. And then it's like, oh, episode 2, okay, you're fine, I forgive you. And then episode 3, I was like, hey, Kuro, you kind of suck now. How dare you not reciprocate the main character's affections, even though you both like each other? And then you get selective amnesia. Oh, suddenly you're not best girl anymore. And so now there's there's faction fighting between the two. No one cares about Momo. So like whatever.
Oh.
Yeah.
Any last words on the series then?
Visually, it's okay, I guess. I guess it is. I mean, it looks fine.
I mean, Dogakobo always does at least an okay job on especially a series like this, so I don't want to be too sweating it probably.
Well, okay. Let the light novels art's fantastic because Shigeru Yui is a really good illustrator. Shigeru Yui.
Well, also it's light novel. Light novel quality is obviously much different from anime quality.
You see how she drew that Toya that one time, Lolly Toya. That was pretty cool. And she's also the illustrator of Subaru, whatever. You know who Subaru is. Okay. So yeah, I think they're trying to emulate it, but especially in the eye department, that's where Shigeru Yui's illustrations are the strongest. Just not as good, Just not as good. They got weird angled faces. Eyes are kind of down. Whatever.
Again,
they tried.
It is what happens with.
They tried.
It's what happens with anime adaptations. I had the same experience as a very young lad when I expected. What is it like? What was the first series I was really disappointed by? It might have been something like. It was like Hisas. Was it Hisasi? What was it? Was it Netoge? I mean, it wasn't. I don't think it was even Netoge. I was like.
Was it Asanagi?
No, I think it. I think.
Sure?
Oh, it might have been actually something like a Hisasi something turning into like a manga. Him like drawing a manga instead or something like that, and then it being like way worse than what he usually.
Wait, Hisasi the artist?
Yeah.
From Bikini Warriors fame and Koakuma Kanojo?
Yes.
Oh, these are all hentai.
of Bikini Warriors fame, yes. But yeah, it's always going to be an unfortunate disappointment going into the anime because the anime has to do constant animation and constant scenes and frames and stuff like that. So it's unfortunate. But yeah,
music, I guess that's fine. I don't know. I'm too busy. I'm too busy appalling at these weird ass fights between the characters for anything to notice the music. It's good. It's fine though.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing that it's not award winning.
Mm-hmm.
It's now what is it? What's the one that Saint's power is omnipotent, whatever. Seiji no Mariku Banu. It's not that. I like the opening in that one. Yeah, it's fine, I guess. All right. Final. Spire. When you're supposed to say final thoughts, not any last words. That's pretty threatening, don't you think?
Well, I mean, it can't be used in a threatening context, but I tried not to mean it. I'm not after your life, Toast. Just
because when you said
we clear the air.
When you said it's the dark, I was like, man, that's kind of threatening. Especially when you're talking.
I want to make it clear to all the members here and all the viewers out there / listeners listening to this podcast that I am not after any of the members' lives or their health in any sort of manner.
Because when you said it's the dark and you were talking about minorities,
we're also totally not being held hostage right now.
Because when you said it's the dark and you mentioned minorities, and I was like, Dark's the only white dude amongst 3 Asians, right? Well, you know, it's
Finally,
kind of.
my turn.
My turn to be the oppressed race. But yeah. Anyways.
Final thoughts.
Yeah.
I hate all the main characters except Shiro because she's voiced by Ayane Sakura, so she gets like 20 bonus points from me. But
Okay.
they're kind of, the interactions and the fights between her and Iori Minase are pretty good.
Mhm.
I mean, the current plot is we're trying to get back into voice acting, and I'm like, I don't care about that. Show me more funny scenes. Because apparently Shiro's is kind of yandere-ish, and she's got a main character doll, and she like licks it every day, and I'm like, that's funny. I like the cut of your jib here, because you know, how dare you? I really don't like that whole selective amnesia thing. That's like, I'm not even gonna say
Well,
that's
that was the fake amnesia thing, right? The fake amnesia.
that's really stupid.
Well, the fake amnesia thing is usually shot as like a side story in like harem series, right?
Yeah, but
Usually
no,
a side
it's a
chapter.
it's a main thing now, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I've never found it particularly good because it's essentially just it's an extension of the will they won't they thing, right? It's like, oh man, I can't really tell you about my feelings, so I'll fake
No,
it.
it's not even that. You know, it's not even that because she tells him she likes him all the time, and he knows it. It's more like,
Mhm.
I messed up super bad. Can I take it back? And it's like, no, you can't.
Well,
take
yeah,
it
it's a
back.
variant of that. Yeah.
You hurt his feelings. It's like, no, you can't take that back. Just apologize properly instead of trying to have selective amnesia, and everything will be better. Because you know, they and it's like, I don't do that. Don't do that. But yeah, I want to see more of their crappy shenanigans. It's so bad. It's kind of interesting to watch. I'll rate it a 8 out of 10. Better than
Wait, you just said it was
Rental
crappy
Kanajo.
and you just rated it 8 out of 10. What the fuck?
It's a dumpster fire that I want to keep watching.
So you gave it 8. Okay.
Not like you want to talk about Rent a Kanajo?
No,
It sucks. I hate it.
no.
You know, whenever a new rent. What is it called? Is it really Rent a Kanajo? What am I calling it?
I think the official title is Rental Kanajo, right?
Rent a girlfriend? I don't know. Kanajo Okari Shishimasasu? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it is. Never mind. Kanajo Okarishimasu.
Holy crap, the manga's called Rent a Really Shy Girlfriend.
I mean, English localizations are what
You know, whenever a new chapter appears in the manga, I read the first page and I scroll all the way down and read the last page, and then I'm done for the week. Because literally nothing happens in that series.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, 8 out of 10. It's a dumpster fire that I actually kind of like the characters. They're kind of endearing in their own shitty way.
okay.
Would I recommend it? Yeah.
You would?
Yeah,
You just said it's a dumpster fire, but you recommend
Yeah,
it?
sucks.
Yeah, I would.
Suffer
It's-
along.
Yeah, it sucks,
Oh
but
my god.
it's kind of a
So
dumpster fire that I really want to keep watching.
Okay.
I want to see who he ends up with, because you know the whole premise of this series is that the childhood friend will not lose. Guess what? They're all childhood friends, so who's gonna? How can they lose if two of them are gonna lose in the first place?
I mean, 90%. I mean, it's pretty standard, right? This is a pretty standard harem / very standard premise / very standard railroading. So my guess is that 90% chance, maybe 95% chance, is that they do the whole run off towards the sunset. You know, the guy can't choose anybody at the end of the novel, so he runs away while getting chased by all the girls into the sunset. That's like 95% chance, and 5% is the first girlfriend, the short-haired one, right? The one that initially makes the plan. So it's between those, but it's like a 5.95.
But it's like I want the long-haired girl to win because technically she was his first love, and it's
it's
and they're both
unfortunate.
childhood friends, and
Yeah.
you know I like Ayane Sakura, so what?
Yeah, no,
But yeah, it's fine. You know another series that had childhood friends, and a main girl one, Nisekoi. Don't you forget Onodera was also a childhood friend.
I mean, the childhood friend. There is a childhood friend in every harem.
Yeah, I mean, childhood friend doesn't mean anything anymore. Like, if you're not the main girl who gets like 80% of
Childhood
the
friend is
screen
only a
time,
flag
like,
to fuck the second girl over, essentially.
yeah,
It's like if you're not the main girl, if you're not your childhood friend, you're gonna lose to the main girl. But what if all the main girls are childhood? What if all the main girls are childhood friends? That's the premise of this series.
yeah,
Haha.
but there can only be one main girl, and typically harem series aren't really very good at balancing out screen time for.
Well, the thing is, they're very obvious about what the authors often are pretty obvious about what's like the flow, and from what Toast is describing is they seem to be the author seems to be balancing it in such a way so that he has a very indecisive ending. But then what he might do is in the second to last volume of the series, right? The second to last volume of the light novel, or maybe even the last volume, depending on how the pacing goes, he might do this thing where he has a second to last thing focusing on the main girl, right? The first childhood friend that shows up, the short hair girl, and then
Is
that
she the
leads
main girl,
into
Spire? Because she's
well,
not
she's
the
the
first
first
person.
girl.
She's not the first person in the series to show up.
Well,
The very intro of the series was him talking to the long haired girl and like saying, "I really like your work, and you were
well,
my first." And that's apparently his first love. Ah,
the first girl is usually like the one that shows up to him sort of at the because I understand like what you're saying. Like you're making a valid point as per the story, but the thing is within like on the higher level, right? If you look at the story, the idea is that the the first girl, okay, so it's like the long hair girl is presented to him as the standard love interest that later has more surprising lore, and the lore leads
a
into
twist!
a
A twist!
bigger sort of relationship, and more chapters for the author to write and all that bullshit, right? So that's sort of how it's set up. But then the sort of initial girl who sort of starts all this train to begin with, starts the plan and starts, the first sort of relationship with them, blah, blah, is the short hair girl. So in my opinion of how, and I would kind of downgrade it to an opinion a little bit more, is that I do think that the short hair girl is technically sort of the first girl, or well, let's not say first girl. Let's use the phrase the favored girl in this story, where she's probably the most likely one to go out with the main character at the end of the story if it does go into one girl route. But again, from the sound, from what you've said about the series, in my opinion, there's a 95% chance that they're all going to go running off into the sunset, and it's going to be an undecided ending. Is I'm betting pretty much. If I had to bet everything, I have probably bet it all on that.
I hope that doesn't happen. You know what?
That happens.
You know who else had a similar premise to this?
No.
Your Quintet, your Quince, Spire, Quince. I can't believe that girl won. I'm not gonna say who, but I don't like the fact that that girl won. I wanted everyone's favorite to win, and that's that. You know what else had it? What else had a? You know what, Spire?
Well, even Quintet left it as vague as humanly possible. So
no, it isn't. One girl won.
that's why that had those last panels, right? Because one girl definitely won.
Yeah, you know what, Spire? I'm gonna
those
blame
last panels happened.
I'm gonna blame my dislike of childhood friends with short hair on True Tears. I always go back to this series because I hate it so much.
Okay. Anyways,
you know that like, oh, I'm childhood friends with you and I have short hair. Also, I'm kind of a dick, but I don't end up with you in the end because I'm a weirdo. I also end up with the long hair girl. Also, did you know I hate True Tears? I like the ending, but I like the ending because the short haired girl didn't win. Good for you.
All right.
But yeah,
All right. Let's wrap it up.
series. I hope Shiro wins. 8 out of 10. I recommend it to you because it's a dumpster fire. Great.
Anyways, thank you.
I hope
Toast.
I hope someone wins. I don't want another Haganai ending.
Yeah, you are a pretty strong proponent of the one girl end. Yeah.
I want someone. If not someone. If not everyone can be happy. I want at least one girl to be happy. I don't wanna. Haha, we're gonna. I hate that
Run
Haganai
off into
ending.
the sunset. Yeah. Well, Haganai ending was the worst of every world. It was literally like
Reset
the thing
zero.
is even that. I mean, even that sort of conclusion, like, oh no, it was a pretty bad fucking conclusion. But it's like everybody being like bittersweet and unhappy in a sense. Something like how something more like yesterday utate kind of starts forming and stuff like that, like more bittersweet stuff. Like I even that is like okay with me, but the major issue with the Haganai conclusion, other than the fact that the conclusion was horrible, is the fact that the author literally just spat and lied in our faces and went like, no guys, I'm a fucking genius. I planned this all along. And it was pretty obvious he was just fucking bullshitting out of his ass. So that was the major problem.
The author basically reset everything back to zero. Because it's all like, oh.
And he said he thought, and he pretended in his afterword that he's like some sort of literary genius who planned this out from volume 2. I'm like, shut the fuck up, bro. Shut the fuck up. It was so obvious that it was not planned out. Oh my god. Anyways, thank you very much, Toast, for helping to cover Osamake, also known as.
I'm glad I chose this over the Kurogyaru one. This one's
I'm glad
more
too.
interesting.
I'm glad too. I am very glad that you chose this.
This was a wild ride of emotions for me, and you know what? I haven't had that in a while. Good job.
Okay. Again, it is Osamake. Osananajimi ga zettai ni makenai rabu kome, or a romantic comedy where the childhood friend absolutely will not lose, or a rom-com where the childhood friend will lose.
How can the childhood friend lose if they're all childhood friends? Ha!
It is a light novel original. Anime is adopted by Dua Kobo, so please check it out if you're into this kind of thing. And now let's quickly go over. Yeah, we need to quickly. This is already really over time for some weird reason. We need to really quickly go over. Go over news. Let's standard Demon Slayer news today. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Mugen Train won't stop, can't stop, has told total of blah blah. It has been the first film ever to pass the 40 billion yen milestone in Japan, period. Like literally it is the most money making film in Japan, like not even anime wise, just like everything, considering everything. It has surpassed Hayao Miyazaki's 2002 Spirited Away. So Miyazaki was wrong. Modern anime is the best. It's Demon Slayer beats out Ghibli. GG.
Yeah.
Anyway,
fuck you, Miyazaki. Fuck you.
Fucking karma, bitch. Numbers news. Everybody likes numbers and rankings. I'm just gonna go over. Or there was data. I believe these are. What numbers are these? Are these Oricon numbers? I'm guessing these are Oricon numbers, right? Yeah, these are Oricon numbers. I'm just gonna go over some top selling manga and light novel money train. Says here in the chat, good stuff. But I'm gonna go over some top selling light novels and manga in Japan by the numbers, Oricon numbers in the first half of 2021. Again, remember this is like freaking during COVID and during a decline in paper sales and stuff like that. So numbers might be skewed here and there. In terms of just volumes for manga, based upon volumes, the top selling manga is pretty much all Kimetsu no Yaiba at the top for number 1 and 2, and everything else is like Jujutsu Kaisen. Everything else is pretty much Jujutsu Kaisen. So, top selling manga in Japan by series, number 1. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba with an estimated sales of 26 million manga volumes. Number 2, Jujutsu Kaisen, 23.8 million. And number 3, Tokyo Revengers coming in at 5 million. So right now, Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer are on top of the manga world right now. At least on the paper world.
Just wait for Tokyo Revengers anime to I don't know, come out with a few more episodes. Maybe then we'll see another huge fucking surge.
Yeah. Attack on Titan, 4.6 million. Chainsaw Man, 4.1 million. Take up number 4 and 5. By the way, just based on there was a news article on what Nier was talking about. So they said that Shueisha reported, Shueisha, one of the major publishing companies in Japan, reported on Monday that the initial run of the upcoming 16th volume of Akutami Giga's Jujutsu Kaisen manga will have 2 million copies. Shueisha announced that the manga's total circulation rose to 50 million, blah, blah, blah. The manga circulation rose about 590%. 590% since the premiere of its anime adaptation last October. This is... I think that's even more than what Attack on Titan might have gone through in its prime, because Attack on Titan at least was already within, I believe, Oricon top 8 to 13 or 7 to 13, right? In terms of manga series, before the anime came out, and then when the anime came out, it just like blew the roof off. But yeah, this just goes to show you again, the power, the absolute sheer power of viral trends in anime. And what can really happen when, it kind of shows you why anime is turning out to be kind of what it is now, where sure, there are plenty of studios and people out there that are trying to make proper adaptations, trying to do anime original stuff, especially PA Works, Okamari, and so on and so forth, that are trying to use anime more as a medium. But just increasingly more and more and more, it's, people come into the office and they're like, we need to use anime as this promotional material for something. So potentially it can be the next fucking big hit. It can be the next Jujutsu Kaisen. It can be the next Demon Slayer. It can be the next Attack on Titan, and so on. So in some cases, unfortunate. In some cases, good. But it is what it is.
We'll see what happens when the Chainsaw Man.
Yeah. Top selling light novels in Japan by series, first half of 2021. Number 1, guess what? It is Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba novelization. Number 2, That Time I Got Reincarnated Slime. Number 3, The Apothecary Diaries. Wow, okay, I didn't expect that. Number 4, ReZero Starting Life in Another World. Number 5, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the movie Mugen Train novelization. Number 6.
Just keeps winning.
I don't even know what to say. Number 6, Jujutsu Kaisen Ignatsu no Kairaki. What is this? Okay. Number 7, Haikyuu. Number 8, another Jujutsu Kaisen. Number 9, Osamake, actually. So very popular. Rom-com where the childhood friend won't lose. And number 10, Sword Art Online. So yeah.
Still hanging on.
Yep. So yeah, again,
Sao really got its win back once they put Alice, that computer generated NPC. It really skyrocketed when she came out, when they brought her into the real world.
Yeah.
Well, we'll
spoiler. She's a cyborg.
Yeah. So those are the numbers again. Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer, the kings of the anime industry right now, pretty much. So, moving on, some business news. Anime database website MyAnimeList announced on Monday that entertainment company Akatsuki Inc., video distribution company The Anime Times Company Incorporated, and electronic company DMM.com limited liability corporation, and media conglomerate Kadokawa Corporation will collectively underwrite 311 million yen, which is about approximately 2.835 million US dollars, of MyAnimeList stock through our third-party allotment. So this is, again, part of the write-in they announced back in February about how the Japanese publishing companies, the major manga and so on, publishing companies, Shogakukan, invest the money, blah, blah. So again, it's a lot of Japanese companies are topping in to this site. I'm not sure of what will become of my anime list, like what they're really going to aim for in terms of, doing all this, but I hope it isn't, I hope it doesn't, how do I say this? I hope it doesn't end up in any sort of kerfuffle concerning the anime fan base, because I know that it's never good when fan opinion sites and stuff like that start mixing with how do I say this, Japanese companies that clearly have their own agendas. So
They definitely have their ear to the ground.
yeah, they're only going to use this as a source of review material to see what the fan base wants, and
Of
not anything else.
course. But that's totally what Japanese companies do.
Yeah, they don't tamper with anything. Okay, they're very pure people. So, anyways, so we'll see what happens next. Entertainment planning, production, and human resource management company Crest announced on Monday that it has founded a new digital animation studio named 100 Studio, pronounced One Double Studio, which Crest will manage under its IP management division. The new studio is planning to do work involving television series, streaming, movies, games, music videos, so on and so forth. Yeah. Anyways, hopefully that they'll produce some decent works. And last but not least, the Association of Japanese Animations, or AJA, released some preliminary anime industry report 2020 findings on Monday. The report found that there was a total of 98,448 minutes of television anime produced in 2020, 6.5% fewer than 2019's 105,000 minutes, and the second consecutive reduction since 2018, which is interesting because it's like it's one thing to be decreasing from 2019 to 2020, right? Because obviously COVID. But it said the second consecutive reduction since 2018. 60, blah, 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 what is it? 63.156 of those minutes of 2020 television anime are original productions, mostly late night anime. So that's approximately 2/3 of the minutes produced, while 35,292 are from ongoing franchises. Oh, fuck you. Okay, so when they say original productions, adaptations are also original productions. So
Yeah,
that's
what do you think?
I almost had hope in the Japanese animation industry
No
for like a
fucking way,
second.
man. There's
And then I
no
was
way.
like, no, okay, never mind. You just crushed my hope. Sorry.
Yeah, there's no way that like 2/3 of the fucking anime
Yeah,
industry is original. Like,
fuck
serious.
you.
Like,
I mean, like, fuck you, Japan. I just like completely, like, my hope just crushed. Anyways, the latter had a particularly marked 18.7 reduction percent, blah, blah, blah. So it says that the report speculated that the ongoing new coronavirus disease pandemic is likely the cause for the fewer minutes of production. Well, I mean, that's obvious, but I'm curious. Did we ever talk about were we there when we talked about the AJA industry report for 2019?
probably.
I wonder why it decreased. I wish I could remember. Maybe it should be in maybe it's probably in our news document somewhere, but man, it would be interesting to find out why it keeps decreasing, because it's like,
Speaking of the virus, Nier, defend yourself.
Against what?
Canadian.
Why?
The
Yeah,
virus
why
by
is
mixing vaccine.
yeah? Why are you mixing your vaccines near in Canada?
Because we don't have enough.
That's not how vaccines work.
Yeah, I
Why?
know.
Yeah, near just buy more.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Anyways, so by the way, just a quick thing. Report cautioned that the effect of Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the movie Mugen Train Runaway hit, had an outsized effect in 2020, as many other anime films were delayed throughout the year. Blah blah. So it's kind of talking about how the movie industry did better or looks better than it actually is
Yeah.
or it did in 2020, mainly because Demon Slayer, Mugen Train, is literally just like,
Carrying
know,
the entire nation of Japan on its back.
like if that gif of like Nezuko running. If Nezuko had like a trail of money, like fucking dollar backs, like behind her back while she was doing the Naruto run, like that would be pretty much how Mugen Train would be. But yeah, so hopefully.
Nier, could you believe Kimetsu no Yaiba has beaten Fate multiple times by now?
Yes.
It's beaten pretty much every like series ever in anything multiple times except
David.
for
It's beaten like fucking Hollywood
Spirited Away.
blockbusters.
It's
too.
also
Yeah.
it's also beaten One Piece a couple of times. Like
Yeah,
damn.
no, it's beaten everything. It's beaten everything. It is record setting on the levels like anime industry wise. I mean, even not necessarily just anime industry wise, but especially anime industry wise, it is unquestionably something on the levels of something like an Avatar or Avengers. Like, there's no question about it. It's broken every single record. What do you want? Like, what do you want?
It's completely unprecedented.
Yeah.
Just like what Session said, just wait until they make a Kimetsu no Yaiba mobile game.
I mean,
They do have one.
they
They
do
have
have
one,
one. Yeah.
Good.
Um.
Add the Mugen Train characters.
Already been in the
Anyways,
game for a long time.
Nice.
moving on to people news real quick again. One, police from Tokyo's Musashino police station reported on Friday that they have arrested a 25-year-old woman from Miyagi Prefecture's Osake City on the charge of forcible obstruction of business. The suspect allegedly sent an email to Wit Studio threatening to set the anime studio on fire. God damn it, guys.
Cool.
According to police, the woman sent the email on May 7th, writing, quote unquote, "I will set your headquarters on fire in 1 week. Do not do that. Don't harass people. Don't harass studios. Don't fucking commit arson, or don't pretend to commit arson. Do not do that
I'm gonna
shit."
take a bold stance. Do email them a week ahead that you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about
Use
you
your
gonna
main
do it,
email
warn them. Yeah.
connected
Yeah,
to your
exactly.
primary computer when you're doing it. Too.
If you're going to, make sure to email them.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't use a
Using
burner
your
email. You need to know. They need to know.
Yeah,
you're serious.
exactly. Jesus. Anyways, next, a little bit more sober news. Voice actor, and radio personality Wakayama Genzo passed away due to heart failure in his Tokyo home on May 18th at the age of 88. His family held a private funeral. He dubbed the late Sean Connery's roles, including his James Bond films. He dubbed Peter Graves as the Impossible Mission Force leader Jim Phelps from the Mission Impossible television series. He did Treasure Island, Osamake, New Treasure Island. He did some Ghibli, Studio Ghibli stuff. He did Ansem the Wise and Kingdom Hearts franchise. Blah, blah. So, again, please wish his family and friends condolences. And a piece of person news. The Fukuoka District Court handed down a guilty verdict on Wednesday to Hoshino Romi, aka Zettai Romi, the alleged administrator of Japanese language manga piracy site Mangamura, on charges of copyright infringement and hiding criminal proceeds. 29-year-old Hoshino was sentenced to 3 years in prison, a fine of 10 million yen, approximately 91,000 US dollars, an additional fine of $565,000 US dollars. The latter is based upon the 62 million yen in revenue that Hoshino earned from the site and deposited it to a foreign bank account. Blah blah. Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of like, if you're actually trying to make money from these aggregation sites, you deserve to get slapped in the face. Like the piracy sites is one thing. Like, the idea of the piracy is one thing because there's always been a tension in terms of how the Japanese publishing companies are, they're always bottlenecking everything. They don't understand how to localize or globalize any fucking piece of shit that they have, and all of their technologies and apps are fucking garbage and shit and stuff like that. That's like a discussion that we need to have. But at the point that you're actually trying to make money off the whole like piracy of the manga and stuff like that, yeah, you deserve to get slapped. So blah blah, all these statements from the publishing companies being like good stuff, so on and so forth. Anyways, so that's it for the people news, and we'll now quickly transition over onto our shoutouts and callouts. Our shoutouts and callouts, everybody here has one shout and one callout each. A shout out is something that you want to praise to the skies. 5 out of 5. Any person, place, or thing can be shouted out, and call it is the exact opposite. Something 0 out of 5, something that makes you just angry from the bottom of your heart, and it can be any one person, place, or thing. And I will go first. My shout out goes to these light or low calorie 80 calorie fucking yogurts. I think those are the only thing that have been keeping me sane for in these past couple of stressful days, because I've been going through some stuff in terms of like work-life balance. And I usually try not to eat on sweets and stuff like that when I'm stressed for obvious reasons. And so these sweet yogurts help me out a lot. So shout outs to them. My call out, huh? My call out. My call out is to people who can't fucking. My call out is to people who say really stupid shit about how, what is it? Asian faces look. This is sort of like
First you talk about 86, and now you're talking about Asian faces. Fire. Is there?
Yeah, I'm just all about racial discrimination today. But yeah, this is based off some comments I saw in a Discord just a few hours ago.
Was it the Idolmaster Discord again?
No, I've been out of that fucking awful place for a while now. But this is a different Discord. But yeah, these comments about like, oh, I thought Chinese people were supposed to look this way, or Japanese people were supposed to look that way. I'm not a big fan. So fuck those guys.
Why not?
Call us to them. Yeah. Yeah. So that's my shout out and call out. And with that, we move on to Nier. What are your shout out and call
out? I don't fucking know, man. Shoutouts to No More Heroes 1 and 2 coming to PC. It's pretty
nice.
Cool. Pretty cool. Callouts. I don't know, callouts to fucking Shadowverse. It fucking sucks ass right now.
Standard state of the game.
Yeah.
Toast. Shout out call, please.
My shout out is to Review Bra. Or as you know on YouTube, the report of the week. What was that?
What?
We good? Okay. All right. My shout out is to report of the week, Ricky Review Bra. I just saw on Google that he posted a Pizza Hut The Edge pizza review, so they brought back the Edge. So shout out to that guy for making me want Pizza Hut. I'm gonna get some tomorrow. That's it.
Your call out?
Call out?
My call out is to do I have anything to call out? Nier. I'm gonna call out. I'm gonna call out Canada. Don't mix your vaccines.
Yeah, well, how about you give some over then?
I can't give you mine. I already had mine. I can give you the amino booster. No. The third shot. You want that?
No,
Why not?
because I need my fucking vaccine first.
Is that? Yeah, I think that's it. I'm good. It's been a good week.
Okay.
For me, not for you. Sorry, Nier.
And last but not least, Dark, of course.
I don't know. Shoutouts to Kingdom Hearts 3. That's a great game.
Once you get past this for the freaking easy mode, huh?
Pretty fun. Yeah, but also callouts to Kingdom Hearts 3. This fucking that Ansem fight in the DLC makes me want to rip my fucking eyeballs out. Shit. Pain in the ass. Do a lot of random stuff too.
Yeah. Very
Yeah,
unfortunate.
it's fucking hard, man. Like, honestly, like, fuck anyone who's ever said, like, a Souls game is fucking hard. No, not. Like, I could
Okay.
I would probably have an easier time beating a Dark Souls game level 1 with, like, no armor and just the club than I will beating these bosses at, like, fucking level 99.
It's just a character action game, Dark. Just get good. Aren't you good at Devil May Cry?
Yeah, this is a little bit different when, you know, bosses have fucking, like, just full-on, like, MMO raid boss mechanics and phases.
And, near, you play Kingdom Hearts 2, right?
2, yeah.
Spire, have you played Kingdom Hearts 2?
No.
This guy didn't have a childhood.
Wow, it's like this guy wasn't born in America or something. But yeah,
No, I was in America during
Yeah.
during when Kingdom
Yeah,
Hearts 2 came
Kingdom
out.
Hearts 2, the most American game known to man.
it kind of is though. That's
In
one
some
of the
ways.
but
America, yes.
it's one of the
So-
major Kickstarters
some
of anime stardom.
Fucked up,
So-
twisted ways.
It's the perfect blend of East and West in anime form.
I don't know. I don't.
But yeah, how do you that Sephiroth fight right near? Pretty good.
I always found the Labyrinth fight a lot harder.
Which one was the one in? Which one was the?
The judge, dude.
Yeah. Wasn't there like a Terra fight or whatever? Or wasn't that way hard?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. What we're trying to say is, Dark, you're an amateur. Get good.
I'm an amateur. Fucking go look up the fucking data bosses. Kingdom Hearts 3. Fucking absolutely absurd.
I beat it on level 1 critical. I beat a freaking lingering will in level 1 critical mode in Kingdom Hearts 2. Plus, is it plus? Birthbite Final Mix.
So,
Yeah. Just get good, Dark. Oh yeah, that's it.
Anyways,
But yeah, you
thank you.
Spire literally mentioning the voice actor for Ansem as I died Ansem is
Yeah, it's a
fucking
trip. Yeah.
infuriating.
Anyways,
I'm still confused on Kingdom Hearts story. So there's the nobodies, the heartless.
we're not gonna. Can we
The-
not go into
Yeah.
the
Whatever.
Kingdom Hearts
I don't-
story
I
at
don't-
the end
I
of the
don't
podcast?
I don't want to.
Please,
I don't want to.
please, please do not do this to me.
When
Okay?
you're nobody's heartless, and then like when everyone has like 3 or 4 alternate personas, I get confused still.
Well, Ansem has 3 or 4 because
There's Ansem, Xehanort, then
Oh, wait.
Semnus.
there's
Xemnas, yeah.
Xemnas, and then
one of them is young Xehanort, whose Xehanort's heart traveled through time. And then Ansem is just like 1/13 of Xehanort, as is Xemnas.
Okay. Anyways, we do not want to go
Yeah,
further
pretty
into the
much.
Kingdom Hearts story at the end of the podcast. Thank you, Dork, for your shout out and call out. And with that, we are finally done with the part 5. I apologize. This podcast took much longer than expected, but we did have some pretty interesting discussions along the way. So that was part of it. Anyways, we will again most likely be having another episode reviewing the last round of the spring 2021 season, so like a part 6 for spring 2021 before we get into the previews and then into summer 2021. So watch out for that. And if you like what we do, we stream every other Saturday starting from 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over at twitch.tv/4PlayerAnimecast, where we talk about the latest and greatest Japanese animation media, anime, manga, light novels, web novels, visual novels, and so much more. So check that out here. We also have our recordings of the podcast stored as highlights on Twitch, as well as VODs on YouTube. So check it out in whichever format that you desire. We have updates and more information coming up on what we're covering, our podcasts, and other stuff on our social media on Facebook, 4PlayerAnimecast, and on Twitter, handle at 4PlayerAnimecast, all with a numeral 4. And with that, we'll see you next time.